It hasn't come up on my computer yet.
Oh, it says we're live now.
All right, let's see.
We think we're live,
We think we're live,
but
just
we're
working
not
on the
sure.
technical difficulties here, right? Remember that we're not quite 21, so we have our special needs, right? Okay, well, looks like we got 22 hellos. Oh, hi, love ya. Hey. Hi,
it's
Bria.
working.
Hi, Baron. Hello, you guys are all working. All right, we're live. Hey, thanks for your help, Vic. Looks like we're live, and we're here to bring you some election coverage, right? And
it's so exciting.
oh my
and
gosh,
here we
never
are
before.
on the other side of the world.
Right, where it's steamy and hot here in Australia, right? So, Lena, what do you think? I mean, how do you feel about this election? It's been such a roller coaster. I don't even know where to start.
Exactly. Where do you start?
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing. In 2 generations.
We could come at this from 1,000 angles, I think.
Hi,
right?
Santa Fe. Hi, everybody.
Hi, you guys. Wow.
Nervous and excited.
Yes,
that sums
that's
it up.
it. Okay, thank you. When you don't know what to say, please just tell us. Right? We'll reflect back to you. I think it's all I've been talking to so many people and we all feel the same, nervous but excited.
Yeah.
We are definitely going to try to keep some levity here and like have some good energy. You guys have probably been having a lot of, drags on you, right? I really feel like.
Yeah, but you guys are also lucky in the States because you can kick back now over a bourbon and a tequila.
Yes.
And all we can do is have a second cup of coffee.
Yes,
I mean, it's not
maybe.
the same in the morning.
Yeah,
No.
it's just not the same. One of our lovely viewers said, is it okay if cocktail hour starts right around this time? Just asking for a friend, she said.
Going for it.
And by all means, whatever relaxes you. Burn some incense, I did. We just burnt a lot of sage just to clear it all out. I think it's really important, too, that we realize, this is exciting in the sense that so many people are really getting involved in the political system. And from a spiritual perspective, I think, from a perspective that, people matter and communities matter and things are changing. And
and already it seems the youth turnout is massive.
And just look at us. We are a community that was created via this political situation. I did not know Lena. I just met her because I was just fascinated by her readings. Here we are in Australia creating our own sort of community, right?
And thanks, guys. We're getting this feedback and we're just beside ourselves.
It's working. I'm just shocked. Technology is a wonder, isn't it?
I know. And I'm going to have CNN on the side. And if there's big developments, we'll try and cut back and forth. But we're not the most technically adept.
So we're learning here. This is just a dry run. We're not the young Turks yet. Okay.
And do you like Dave's shirt?
Oh, do you like my shirt? Just to let you know, I'm not
subtle,
Australian.
Isn't it?
Subtle.
It's very subtle.
Subtle. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
In Dave's closet of vintage clothes. I have some for every occasion. Now, Mara, what do you think? I mean, what do you think is the most interesting race for you here?
I think there's the 3 biggies. I think there's Stacey Abrams in Georgia. She's up against it because of the vote rigging. There's Beto, who has changed the world. Win or lose. Beto,
Yes,
I'm his most doting auntie and he doesn't even know.
Yeah, we're big fans.
Big fans. And Gillum, who already is looking good. So there, I think, the big ones.
I think it's really interesting, too, that these 2 significant people are African-American, right? And they're going in places where African-Americans have not traditionally held a lot of power. I think that is a major, major important change for us. A community of people that reflect every single color. That is more the left, the Democrats, not the right wing anymore. I think that it is really exciting that we are now getting to the point where those people are very viable. Yeah, totally. And I've just seen here, Dems need 2 more to win the House. Oh, my God. Wow, okay. All right.
Oh, how thrilling.
Wow. We're getting messages from people all over the world. Don't forget that this election is about the world. It's not just about the United States of America. I do live in Australia, and believe me, I sometimes can't get sleep at night because I am so worried about what will happen to my country.
Yeah.
Now I'm a little bit more excited than worried, I'm happy to say, but I do think we all need to take a deep breath. Remember, this is not the last election. It's going to be okay. Heart can really start pounding when you see some of this, but hopefully it'll be pounding in the exciting and fun way.
Yeah, right? Totally. So what we're going to be looking at too, we've got, we were talking about Florida.
Yeah.
North Dakota, whether Heidi Heitkamp can hold on.
Mm-hmm.
We've got South Dakota with Billy Sutton, the partially paralyzed cowboy.
That's interesting, yeah.
Rohrabacher versus Ruda in California.
Now,
So
down 1 point by some polls, right? And I mean, Rohrabacher, if you think there's trouble with Russia, he's certainly one to look at, right? I mean, Rohrabacher looks like he was very close to the Russians during last election. I think it is really interesting that he's down, that some of these accusations do seem to be sticking, at least to some candidates in some places.
Yep. And also, just while we're warming up here, we need to talk about some of our notes. That there's been a couple of interesting court cases this week. And one of them is about 20 young people who are suing the government for the lack of action on climate change. That's amazing.
It is amazing.
And just this week, a judge said that can go ahead.
Yes,
That's
and
amazing.
I think maybe they're 23, and they're really young people, like, 8 to 18 or something like this. And the judge will let it go ahead. This is our future. These are the future voters. It's their planet, that is being systematically chipped away at, all their resources.
Yeah, they've got everything to lose, and why not? And this is part of gearing them up, I think, to become voters in the future.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, this election, along with all previous elections, is decided by the number who doesn't vote.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
So I think people might be a bit guilty who haven't voted today.
Yeah.
I think they'd be feeling, oh, well, I can't really complain about anything then.
Well, people were very motivated in the last election to not vote. They weren't particularly happy with either choice, so they were motivated. Now it seems much more, there is no Hillary Clinton boogeyman right now.
Yeah, she really was the boogie girl,
she really
wasn't she,
in
in the
could
middle of all that?
Project all your feelings of negativity upon her, and that's not there anymore, so it does feel better. Obviously, there have been lots of cases of voter suppression, which are extremely disturbing. I think the Georgia one is the most disturbing. That the guy who's controlling the election is also running, what free country does that?
I think I'm going to make a big statement here in the sense that I think America has forgotten what real democracy is.
Yes.
They've run with this pattern for so many decades and so many generations. But I think that is up for grabs now. I think that is changing. This election is changing.
Well, also, this is going to be a trend. In 2 more years, there will be more younger voters out voting. In 2 more years, we're going to have, potentially see what Trump's up to in the next 2 years. I guess we will see, regardless whether he manages to survive 2 years or not.
Yeah,
we're going to really see what the right wing is like, and I think then 2 years from now we have a big decision to make. Whether we're going to keep the same president or replace him, along with a bunch of senators. So, again, just remember, this is the beginning of a trend. It's not the end or the beginning of everything. It is just a trend.
It's a trend, and it's a major trend.
Yes.
And here someone says, Dave, your shirt is rocking. There we go.
Now, you guys, I want you to know from a spiritual perspective, I try to make everything vintage. Everything is vintage. I'm trying to save the planet. So I buy shirts like this and wait 22 years to use them. Right? Okay? This time without irony. Okay, she's teasing me. She says, "Well, a little bit of irony."
How mad is a little bit of irony? Another court case that came up this week was a district court judge in the District of Maryland has said that the case against Trump and his emoluments can go ahead too. All that foreign money going into Trump hotels. So that's 2 big legal wins.
Right.
This week, troops.
Yeah, right on. And, Lita has given me permission to tease her a little bit about her Australian English. So if you see me doing that, I'm not being mean. Yes.
Many of my viewers are now bilingual. They can speak Australian.
Yes. Well, also, living in Australia, I managed to mispronounce many of the candidates' names, like Beto, or I kept saying Beto, because I have become influenced by these crazy Australians.
Yeah, totally. But
right.
now, viewers, don't you know what a wanker in chief is?
Yes.
That's your glorious
Yes.
president.
There
He's
we
a wanker in
It's
chief.
useful idiom.
It's
Useful
absolutely,
idiom, right.
absolutely vital.
Right. And we do have to credit Lena for coining the phrase "mother of dragons" for
Ivana.
Ivana Trump. Yes.
The Game of Thrones
The Game of
references
Thrones
roll
roll
on. If
on.
anyone's missed Game of Thrones, go
Right.
back.
You might have to just look at American history and realize it's kind of Game of Thrones.
It's very Game of Thrones,
and it's really Game of Thrones right now, isn't it?
It's so Game of Thrones.
Right.
Does anyone know out there how Richard Jeter's going? I don't know that he's going that well. I just heard something a few minutes ago. Look, praying, but he is making really obvious things obvious.
Yeah.
So what kills democracies is people who stop listening to the basics, right? And he's calling the basics. And he said here, more people have died from opioids via Big Pharma than were killed in the entire Vietnamese war from the point of view of the US and allies. You know, this is huge.
Well, we really like, Ojeda just for giving it the fight back, for really confronting these people instead of, certain politicians who are very mealy-mouthed and they're not really, expressing how I feel as an American. Like, we need to be assertive. It's just every time I watch a newscaster, I always wonder, why don't you call him a liar? Why don't you ask the right question that shows what you mean? Why don't you get mad? I'm mad. I'm an American. I'm angry. Why can't we all just be this way? And Ojeda seems to really just put it like to him. I mean, I don't agree with everything he's saying, but man, I really appreciate the fact that he's asking an honest question.
Yeah.
Right? And expecting an honest answer and not putting up with the big pharma response of, you should give us all your money. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and healthcare still seems to be on the top of people's lists in real life.
Yeah.
So something has to be done about healthcare that's permanent and ongoing. So go Bernie for bringing it to the front.
It's a good point, right? And also, we can credit Obama with creating a program that people, once they did like it. It was inadequate as a program, but 15 million people got covered under Obamacare. I was one of them.
Yeah.
And if you want to argue it's too expensive, well, it's better than having nothing. It wasn't great.
It's better than nothing, but it's so not recognizable as healthcare from other countries.
It isn't.
Universal healthcare, right?
Yeah. If you guys have any questions about healthcare in Australia, I can tell you, it is so much better. So much easier to use.
You can have a baby and it doesn't cost you anything. You can have cancer treatment and it doesn't cost you anything. And so it's paid for out of tax. And I think one of the problems that America faces is the national narrative, low tax, always push tax down. People don't mind paying a little bit more tax if they know where it's going.
Right.
And we have a levy. 1.5% of everyone's tax goes to pay for healthcare.
Seems totally reasonable to me.
Yeah, so Obama's thing, which is not his fault, he was fought.
Yeah,
he didn't want this thing that's called Obamacare. Yeah, where you're actually fined if you don't take out insurance. I mean, that's not right.
Yes,
that is fundamentally not right.
Now, it has been pointed out by the Young Turks, for example, that progressive candidates are actually doing quite well. That the liberal side, more progressive candidates are doing better than actually the centrists. I'm sure there's a lot of exceptions, but I think that we are approaching an interesting time in the sense that from the right or the left, we're getting a lot of energy, but more from people who want change, even if it is on the right and we don't agree with that. Certainly on the left, a lot of energy for these changeable.
And I also think millennials, and we call them the Zs, you call them the Zs, the ones who are after the millennials.
We also say millennial, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's sorry. But they actually understand the conversation differently. They want to know why 1% of the world's wealthy own 90% of the goods. They don't just roll with that. They go, what's wrong with this picture? And that's what needs to happen. Intergenerational change.
Yeah. Well, and if you get a chance, take a look at Walt Disney's daughter. She gave a great presentation as a very wealthy person, talking about how much more wealthy she's going to be and how she doesn't need that money, right? And it was a beautiful example of, look, Kavanaugh, all that stuff is noise. What's really going on is a few 150 people or so have rigged an election so that they could abscond with lots and lots of power, money. Panama Papers. What were the other recent papers that had some members of Trump's cabinet hiding money? Was it Panama Papers?
The Panama Papers were big because they were global, and so they caught a lot of people in the net who are very wealthy and who hide their money offshore.
Right.
And you know what I'm really sick of? I'm really sick of hearing, oh, there's these tax loopholes, but they're legal. Well, why aren't they illegal?
Right. Let's close the loophole. How hard that would be. You know,
it's the same in Georgia. You know, that guy was able to cut off 340,000 voters for not filling in those stupid cards that look like spam.
Yeah.
It was legal. Well, it shouldn't be legal.
Right. Right.
Mustn't be legal after this. This is, to me, the preview for 2020 and voting.
Sure. We have to change the whole system by which people are allowed to vote, etc. This seems extremely important right now. And there is a lot of points about this election that it's really about electing. You know, it's an election about elections. And I think that is significant in our time, right? And I think the trend is towards justice, perhaps as Martin Luther King would say. The arc of justice is slow, but it bends toward justice. I'm misquoting him, so forgive me, but I think this is a significant time for us.
Major. Thanks, guys, for all your comments rolling in. We've got nearly 1,000 people on board.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Should we see what's up with one of these elections? Can we take a look now?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
See what's which one's the most important.
Yeah.
Yes, voter reform. Lots of voter reforms. Can you use a citizen live in Australia? Yes, you can. You can. I am applying for permanent residency. I love Australia, by the way. You'll just love it. There's very few homeless people in the streets. People are generally taken care of. Beautiful parks. Everything's, you know, clean and organized. Obviously, this is a different culture, but it just seems like people are being taken care of more practically. Australia has mandatory voting. Right, so you have to vote. So the results are definitely changed. If you are considering moving to Australia, a lot of people have seen my backyard and like, oh my God, this terrace, they call it a terrace. It's a deck in America, but we call it a terrace here, is so beautiful. I want to live there. Well, there are some downsides, but for the most part, it is wonderful. If you want to take a look at the list of things needed in Australia, the jobs that they're really seeking, you would be surprised. Plumbers, electricians, some jobs like this.
A lot of tradies.
Highly sought after. If you want to be a plumber here, you can make $120,000 a year, no problem. It's a middle class job. You know, that just seems to be one of the profound differences here. Is that everybody here is middle class. I don't see really rich people. I don't really see so many poor people.
It's there, but it's probably the numbers are smaller, so it's not as obvious, and there's a lot of people struggling.
Sure.
We don't want to gloss it up too much.
Right.
There are people struggling, but your fundamental safety nets, so housing and health, are stronger than the US.
Do.
And we do need more affordable housing. Housing is very expensive.
Yeah. Do consider it. I'd say definitely take a visit and see how you like it. Love Sydney. Love the weather's great. People are polite. People are very, very polite.
By and large.
And they would never vote for Donald. You would never have a Donald Trump here. It just wouldn't pass muster.
Here in Australia, even prisoners can vote. You know, so people go into the jails to make sure that they can vote. They send people into every hospital.
No kidding.
Everything. So it's the complete flip. It's the government's responsibility to make voting possible and easy, no matter who you are.
And as an American, I believe we need that kind of amendment. And if you're going to make it hard to vote, then you need to drive over there and hand them their driver's license or ID or whatever it is. It should be on the record keepers, the states, to make sure that all of those people are registered to vote if they wish to do so. And you should make every effort in that regard. I think that this needs to be a constitutional amendment. We cannot count right now on the Supreme Court to protect our votes.
And I think what happens, it's an historical thing. When I'm assuming if you grow up as an American, you're told from birth, this is the greatest country on earth. You know, this is the greatest democracy that's ever been conceived of. This is the greatest of everything. So you go, well, you wouldn't want to change it because
Sure.
we've got the best.
Right.
No, you've got the worst health system
It's really
on the planet.
Not working.
It is third
Yeah,
world.
it
It is
really
third
is.
world. People are dying
Right.
of certain ailments because they are American. If they were Canadians, they would be living another 20 years. That is not, because what you guys call healthcare is not, it's health insurance.
It isn't the same.
It's not the same thing. It's not healthcare. And in Australia and the UK and everywhere else that has real healthcare, you can also be privately insured. So if you are middle class, you can take up private insurance, which pays for glasses and your teeth and a private ward in the hospital.
Well, let me just give you my example.
You can still
I pay $200 a month. I have private healthcare in Australia, $200 Australian dollars a month, which is what, $150 or something like that. Now in America, I had Obamacare. I paid $300 myself, but I'm poor, so the government paid another $5. So why does it cost $800 for a private healthcare insurance? Because that's what Obamacare really is, just private. Why do we pay $8 in America and $2 here? I'm not a citizen. I don't get any discounts. I just went to a private firm. Now it's probably not the greatest insurance, but it ain't $800 a month. I can't even imagine. And let me tell you, press a button, doctors come up, you make an appointment. There aren't 3 weeks of waiting for everything. It's quite amazing. So, I think the thing too about America is America's great because it innovates. And right now we are innovating. We are changing. We are becoming a nation in every moment that we are. So I don't want to underestimate the potential of American people to be great. I think that we are in that process.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And I don't mean to quote Donald Trump here and say becoming great, wonderful. How about wonderful? Right?
Wonderful will do.
So,
okay. So what are we going to look at next here? So I think CNN's coming back in a minute. More polls are closing. They're closing as we speak.
Oh, and look at this. This is very interesting. She's pointed out, Sue Ellen has pointed out that her sister's an election inspector, and there are lines around the corner in her portion of the world, which is, I just missed it. Sorry. But in any case, I'm sure that's true in a lot of places. What do you think it means that we're having this huge turnout? I mean, do you think that it could go the left's way?
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? You'd really hope so. I mean, obviously a few latent Republicans would be gearing up, but let's hope, you know. These are people who want to say something, and 55%, well, it's not 95, but 55% of the country are not happy with what Trump's doing. So that's better than nothing, you know.
And do you think we could make an argument that the polling really is not going to be particularly accurate? I think that we don't, just like the last election, people can't really predict what's really going to happen here. It seems like the new voters are going to be younger, lefty voters, older voters, Republican voters always vote. That doesn't seem like there's anything new there. So it feels like an Obama election in the case that lots and lots of people are coming out. And voting left. And
I think people are ripe for it. I think things happen historically at certain key points. You know, I don't think the country was ready 2 years ago. It was just business as usual. And oh, whoops, look who got in. I think it smartened up the country. I think it's
right. Well, you know what my best friend said when I called America and said, please tell me this is not happening. She goes, you know what, Dave? Democrats have to stop being Republicans if they want to win.
I think that's the key message.
So, you know, maybe Trump just had to be so bad that everybody had to wake up and say, well, gee, maybe we should offer the people something like promises that we will cover pre-existing conditions. And that has become an issue now. And it's an issue that matters to everybody. I know, I don't want my parents or friends or anybody else to be kept off insurance.
No, I know. But also the whole looking at capitalism again, because again, it's one of those sacred cows,
it must be perfect.
That doesn't get looked at. And I think people are right for this new message. The Ocasio-Cortez sort of young things are coming through with that message.
Well, what do you think about the whole environment since Kavanaugh? People kept claiming, or conservatives kept claiming, that the Republican base was all going to be fired up. Do you agree with this post-Kavanaugh?
Oh, we'll see, won't we?
Yeah, we'll see,
We will see, but the Kavanaugh appointment was such a debacle. No one could call it a win in the usual sense. So I think for every happy Kavanaugh supporter, there's been generated tens of thousands of people who go, this is what these sort of men do. This is what they look like. I don't think so. Right. And even the other SCOTUSes, sounds awful, doesn't it?
It does.
Apparently don't like him.
Right.
And he's not the smartest lawyer in the world.
Right.
He's one of those, despite what he said, who got in because his grandfather went to Yale or Harvard or wherever it was. He's a legacy student, and it shows. He's not the smartest guy, and we know he has no discipline. So it could change how
they approach him.
Him.
It depends how much he likes beer.
Yeah, really. Beer.
How much does he like beer, right? Well, don't you feel like
he was such a juvenile?
He was such an incompetent, Don't you feel too that it really? I felt many months ago that as I was doing my channel, that it would be women and the supporters of women who would be coming forward and making a change in this election. And I still feel that's true. I feel like women are coming up. They are really working hard for this election, and they are creating communities, obviously, that involve everyone, including men. I feel that it is really, kind of a woman's time this time around. They're making the difference.
Yeah. Look, we've got a few results in here.
So where are we looking at? What do you think is the key?
Spano is leading Laura Carlson, but that's nothing.
Just a bit. These elections are so close.
So close, which is why they were so hard to predict.
Yes, Lena and I were researching which is going to be the closest. We can't even figure out which one's going to be the closest because it is so close. We're looking at like Shapiro, 51.2% over Buchanan, the Republican. That is in...
you've got 11 Dems in the House versus 11 Republicans. I mean, it's knife-edge stuff.
Well, it looks like Senate is 25 Dems to 42 Republicans.
So let's hope they close that a bit.
Right. Well, that seems like just at the beginning. I'm sure that many of these numbers involve early voters, which do seem to be older people. Most of the college students are not going to be early voters.
No.
I mean, this is the first time I voted in advance, right? At the ripe old age of 52. That's when I finally got it together. Obviously, I'm voting from abroad, so it was harder. So, wow, election, polls are starting to close in 3 more states. Spanberger at 50 over 48 for Bratt. That is an interesting election. It looks like Spanberger is winning that one in Virginia, 7th district. Let's see, what else are they bringing us? That's the Virginia House. Let's see. Question is, viewers, is red Florida going blue? That will be a really, really key case. Gillum and all the other people within Florida seem to be super, super interested. Lots of voting there. Also, weather. That was an unpredictable one. The crazy weather in the South. It just depends where that hits, which polling places it hits. Like Virginia, we're looking at 5-5. Now, let's see. Are those numbers just for Florida? It looks like 13 districts are blue versus 10 red in Florida.
Wow.
That's for the House. Right, now that's for the House races. Let's see what else we're seeing here.
Well, what have we got here?
We're just about to close polling at 7:30 in a few key races.
Indiana, amazingly, still seems to be going red despite Pence.
Yeah.
Or maybe because of Pence. They want The Walking Dead.
Well, Indiana is pretty conservative. My parents are both from Indiana. They were conservative, okay? Now, my father might still be conservative, but my mom moved to California and became progressively more liberal over time, right? My dinner table was like a tennis match. Mom and dad argue back and forth. That's, of course, back when we were civil, when we were able to have civil disagreements about the issues of our time as opposed to the personalities.
All right. We've just had a question. How long will you guys be streaming? So we'll be doing it over a few hours. We'll stop every now and again because we'll have to have another coffee or something, and we'll keep coming back.
Some deep breathing exercises.
So keep us on hold, but we'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll let you know. We will be back. We're just not sure exactly the times. It's also kind of odd to set this up. There's some races that may not even be decided.
stuff, you know.
So
So I think there's a big argument here for going back to
it is important,
pencils, isn't it? Really,
it is important to
these
control our
machines.
excitement because we're not going to get a result tomorrow. It's going to be ongoing. We'll have a good feeling about it. Wow, Indiana is way ahead of Joe Donnelly. That's not a big surprise.
No.
Don't you think it's more, I mean, again, in my kind of channeling work, I felt like we're going more to extremes. It's not that people are voting Democrat, Republican. They're going far, far intense Democrat or far, far more progressive in the other direction. I should say progressive Democrat, far right, right? Although it's not necessarily true because some of those Tea Party guys have lost.
Yeah, and they're not gaining ground again.
Yeah.
They've had their time. Their wave is over. In Virginia here, we've got the Democrat.
Gillum up,
Gillum's
2 points. Gillum's at 50.8 and DeSantis is at 48.2. Yes, Gillum. We love Gillum, you know.
Different story in Georgia.
Good
Oh,
Lord.
no. That's
Stacey Abrams looks like she's doing really badly with these early
72
votes.
to 27.
Now, that might just be the people who got out first.
Yeah, but that's a big differential.
Yeah, it's a big differential. Remember, you know, conservatives tend to vote in the morning, right?
There's that, but it's also 340,000 people who have stopped voting, and it shows. And I think she should take that all the way. That's the other thing I wanted to say. I think there really needs to be a class action, you know, from every state. 100 people who had complications with the voting machine or registration and take it as a class action. Even take it to the UN, take it to The Hague. Make it a bigger story than just the US, because you can't trust these people to sort out these issues.
I think it'll bring up the issue of, you know, what can citizens do if they are denied their right to vote? What recourse do they have after this? And I think that is definitely going to come up after this election one way or another.
Yeah, and people can't let that slide because it's going to take 2 years to change these processes, you know. So it's got to be there. So, we've got an 8-1 here somewhere. We haven't got the sound on. 8 Democrats to 1 Republican. Oh,
it looks like Kentucky. Wow.
That has 1.
McGrath has got 54 over Barr.
Amy
at
McGrath.
44. Go, Amy.
Go, Amy.
You are a winner. Yes. That looks like a pretty good shoe-in.
Yeah. She should be all right from here.
Should be all right from here. Yes.
Oh, my God. That's a good one.
Yeah, again, we've got McGrath at 54.
Yeah.
She's definitely leading.
And what is this fear? 11 Democrats to 1 Republican in House pickups. Oh, that's good.
Wow. And is that just for the state? Or is that general House?
It's hard to tell without the sound. So we're gabbling here. Let's just turn it up for
just a bit.
For a minute and see what's happening.
Let's take a look at those closes to 23. So let's go through and let's start. We just showed you Kentucky 6. If the Democrats are winning here, Donald Trump in the campaign for president carried this district by 15 plus points. If the Democrats are winning here at the end of the night, they're leading right now. If they're winning here, that tells you there's a strong Democratic vote tonight. So let's come up here now.
Okay, so look at the Kentucky race. It is a bellwether.
Win for the Democrats. More than half the vote in, and the Democratic candidate performing as
well tonight. God.
Jennifer Wexton, 57 points, almost 60 points. She's got
for the Democrats.
almost 20 points over her Republican.
Get 23.
Is that
this is a key test of how bad is it for Donald Trump in the suburbs? How bad is it for President Trump in the suburbs? And if you're looking at a race right there, it tells you the Democrats feel very
Virginia's
strong about
10th
that.
district.
Opportunity.
Take a look at that.
We get some national attention because remember, Dave Bratt was a giant killer back in the Tea Party election. He knocked off Eric Cantor, key member of the House Republicans.
Wow, so Bratt's at 48.8, but Spanberger's at 50.
This is a very close race in a highly competitive district. So this one, if you're the Democrats, this you have to win. You should win. It's a golden opportunity. The 10th district, Jennifer Wexton. This is much more competitive race here. Richmond suburbs versus the Tea Party, Trump voter area up here. We're going to watch this, and we're only at 20% there, 18% there. There's another one. So there's 2 there in Virginia. Let's keep coming south. We haven't talked much about North Carolina yet, but there are some opportunities for the Democrats in North Carolina. So we're going to see that vote come in as well. Let's just check in on these districts to see where we are. 802 votes. Ryan Watts over Mark Walker, the Republican incumbent there. Let's move over here.
North Carolina Democrats doing well.
Over Republican incumbent Still early in the vote.
Linda Coleman is ahead.
Early in the vote count.
All Democrats seem to be ahead in North Carolina.
In North Carolina.
David Brown is ahead by 1 point.
Losing at the moment, but only 235 votes. So you pull back out, and you're looking at this map. Florida right now, this is what the Democrats had hoped for.
Yeah.
Let's get 2, let's get 3, maybe 4.
Oh,
yes.
Democrats are leading the vote in 4 districts now. 2 of them are down here. And again, we talked about the close Senate race. We talked about the close gubernatorial race.
So exciting.
Driving turnout in the southern part of the state especially is also these close congressional races. You have the Democratic candidate pulling ahead here. Carlos Curbelo.
Okay, we're getting a few messages from Floridians.
Yeah, hi,
We're very
Florida.
excited. Hello, Florida. Go, Florida. We love you guys.
A Republican incumbent in trouble here. This was a Republican retirement where a candidate who has a relationship with the district, can do the fundraising, is very well known, leaves. Democrats see an opportunity. Donna Shalala at the moment.
Wow, Donna Shalala being 52% over Salazar. All right. Can I tell you a funny Donna Shalala story?
Sure.
Sure.
Look at what's going on.
So just to everybody had a little more levity here. I once shined Donna Shalala's shoes. Yes, I really did. I was a shoe shiner. That's how I put myself through school. And one night I'm shining the shoes outside of the door, and I look at the bag. And I'm like, Donna Shalala, I just saw you on TV 10 minutes ago. Who should open the door and pull her head out, wearing the bathrobe of the Fairmont Hotel, and asked me very politely when my shoes would be done. She also left me a nice tip. Thank you very much, Donna.
We like
so
Donna.
I really want her to win, just on a personal level. I'll also tell you one more funny story. Yeah. Al Gore has the biggest shoes I've ever seen in my entire life.
There you go.
Right?
Note that, viewers.
Never saw anything so scuffed up. Never saw a more worked over pair of shoes. That man has hooked it for the American people. Right? So, wow. It's looking like the Democrats are doing very well in some key races. Feeling pretty optimistic here, right?
Dade County.
10 points.
Bill Nelson creaming it.
Wow, 10 points here.
Awesome. Oh, and Donnelly catching up in Indiana.
Good for him. Looking a little bit better. Looking a bit better. Good.
Yeah, come on,
guys. All right, greetings to you guys.
Yeah.
Just reading some messages. Thanks so much, you guys. It's really fun. Nelson is.
I tripped over Kevin Costner's foot once. From one of our thanks,
thanks so much. Yeah.
Should I tell you my OJ story?
Oh no, really? Okay, go ahead.
O.J. Simpson tried to pick me up.
No, kidding. You are kidding me.
I know. I've never told Dave
It's probably a good idea that you left that well alone.
1979.
No kidding.
Okay. I'm at this party, and this guy comes up. And don't forget, that was in his heyday of the Orange. This is before the murders and the scandals, and he was a god.
Still dateable.
Except I didn't know because I don't play whatever he plays.
So I had
no idea who he was. Anyway, he comes up and he goes, "Oh, babe, one night with me, you'll have the same game." Anyway, I went over to someone else and went, "Who is that wanker?" Right, because his pickup lines were so bad.
It was so bad.
I mean, I'm 20 or 21 or something. I was mini hot.
Come on, you were 16.
No, I wasn't underage. No, but he was bad then.
Yeah.
So I turned down O.J. Simpson, which is probably just as well.
It's probably a good thing in retrospect.
Oh, my God. Oh, and what else is happening here? Oh, Dems are picking up seats.
Gillum. Looking good, Gillum.
Oh,
yes,
my God.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man, it looks great for Gillum. He is up at least 6 points right now. I don't want to give the show away. It may change. Things might change. It's not over yet, but.
And when is the West Coast doing it? They're hours behind, so we're not going to hear about Nunes.
They are, we will not be hearing about those until a bit later. And we will be given a show later, right around that time. Unfortunately, a lot of the real answers that you guys will be getting will be happening at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So we don't figure anybody's going to be watching them. But we definitely will do one after the election.
Shapiro is up by a little bit, also in Florida. Right. Oh my God, how exciting! And Bayer, Florida
is doing well. Florida has always been that bellwether state, and they're doing really, really well.
And of course, the home of Mar-a-Lago.
That's quite a coincidence.
You've got to love that.
I wonder how many Mar-a-Lago people would be voting.
Okay, Democrats leading in 14 of the 23 seats needed to take the House.
Wow. Okay.
Ooh.
All right, we're doing well, you guys. Doing well. Looking at Ohio, also a bellwether state. Courtenay is up 63 over DeWise's 34, right? It could be, I mean, I don't want to worry anybody, but this could be a rout. It really could be that the votes are not counted in the normal way. You know, none of the statistics seem to be accurate this time around, just as in other, you know, years last year, you know, they were not accurate. I think we have entered a new era where it's much harder to determine what's going to happen.
And I think it's a mix of things. I read somewhere their modeling doesn't allow for an influx of huge new voters or first-time voters.
Now it looks like 15 districts Democrats are leading in the House of Reps. They need 23 to overcome. And in 15 now, not 14, but 15 of those seats, we are doing very well. Wow.
Awesome. Oh, it's so exciting.
So, Lena, at this point, can I ask you a little bit about your American roots?
Oh, yeah. Funny. I had relations going back to the Mayflower. And I had a niece who did a bit of family history, and she turned up the Mayflower connection. And we got all excited, and she wrote to not Ancestor, but the American version. There's a Mayflower Foundation. And they sent back a letter saying, everyone thinks they're on the Mayflower. Right. We have to check the validity of your claim, but basically hose down. You know. Then they got back really quickly going, yes.
Actually, you're right.
I had a father and daughter, Edward Winslow and Hannah Winslow. And also I'm related to Anne Hutchinson. So any of you people from around Boston, she was very instrumental in the 1620s. For separation of church and state. So she was a Puritan woman, but she argued that everyone should have their own relationship with God.
Isn't that crazy?
That men are in the middle and they're men's laws, not God's laws.
Yes.
So that was pretty out there. And she's lucky she didn't get burnt at the stake.
Yeah.
It's only because she was an educated woman that she wasn't burnt at the stake.
Yes. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, so I've got a bit of an American connection. And yours go way back, don't they?
Yeah, I am the perfect example of an American. I have, you know, recent, people who immigrated here. At least one illegal alien. I'm pretty sure my great-grandfather was a bootlegger from Canada. That's my guess.
Awesome.
But some of my ancestors go back to Jamestown. I'll just tell you, I have ancestors that were radically opposed to slavery. Some of members of the Underground Railroad.
Wow.
I have ancestors who were Quakers who had slaves and decided it was wrong and gave them up. And I have a great-great-grandfather that was a slave owner. So I really am like just a really amazing, in sense, reflection of, you know, all American people, good and bad, people who changed and went from being good people or maybe from being lousy people to becoming much better people.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think more and more people are going, is it a new civil war, right? This a culture war thing. And I think we should get away from the war metaphors.
Yeah.
And go, those were great inspirational times, even though people basically on the ground were just cannon fodder.
Right.
They weren't part of the ideological fight. You just went, and we know people went at 13 and 14 and all that. So I think we should get away from the war stuff, but to still fight on, but fight on for righteousness. And I also think in terms of reincarnation, I don't know what you guys individually think or believe about reincarnation, but I think people are up for the fight now. It's like, I think we're getting more souls who have made these fights before. Like I'm sure there's some suffragettes coming through behind the women's vote. I think there are Civil War spirits who are coming and saying, we fought for this stuff. Why are we here now? I really believe that. I think.
And would you say not? It feels like consciousness, the whole consciousness of this planet, the universe is changing. It seems awful when we look at some of these things, but it might just be the effect of these radical changes. Now we have the personification of a person that who isn't democratic. We have a very articulated, clear opposition, I think, in a way that has developed into something good.
Yeah, totally. And I think Trump should have to do a DNA test.
Yeah,
right.
Make sure it's all human.
It's really
human and not.
Poor Neanderthals, they get a bad rap.
Yeah,
but he's probably got bigger than normal quota of Neanderthal. But in real life, which is my point I brought up on an earlier video, and it's the same with Australia. There's no such thing if you're not an Aboriginal person of Australian DNA. We're a mongrel race from other places, and it's the same, I'm sure, when you've had your DNA done. The point is, he is the child of immigrants. His mother came from Scotland. You know, his father was only there, 5 minutes from his father in Germany. He then marries 2 migrants. And then howls about migration.
Yeah, it is a perfect example of the hypocrisy of
mind-bending.
Yeah, when, you know, Trump's ancestors came, my ancestors didn't keep him outside and say sorry.
Yeah, right.
You can't be a pimp, which is what his father basically was in Alaska. Pimp and a racist. You know, Trump and his father were both, you know, avowed racists. They did get in trouble for discrimination. I think Trump's father got arrested at a KKK rally for being violent.
Totally. And Trump, wouldn't rent apartments to African Americans and so forth. So it's a deeply held tradition that.
Well, I do feel too that community has been created. You know, Lena and I noticed, like, when we're working with our clients, just a good deal of community happening where people are from different races, backgrounds are now kind of entering a family again of people who care and work for each other. This race has galvanized a lot of people to kind of cross some lines and become friends with somebody. We, again, are a perfect example of where.
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt you. Ohio governor race. The Democrat Cordray is 56 to 42 or something.
Against a white. Yeah, Kemp is still up against Abrams.
Stacey's climbing, but I don't know if she's going to get their troops. It's 69 to 30. It's a big ask.
Again, I wonder if a couple things didn't happen. It could have been the weather that has just changed things. It might be that a good many of the early voters voted for Kemp, and that's who are being counted. It's possible that those would be, you know, directed more to the right.
Sure. And Amy's just pointed out that Pence's brother has won, followed by, what the fuck? And there we go. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's take a look here. Rick's Nelson is still beating Scott. Gillum is definitely beating DeSantis. I suppose by almost 2 points. It's looking pretty good in Florida.
And West Virginia's Manchin's
no kidding.
way up against Morrissey. Lordy. I said, Lordy. Democrats take early leads in key Senate, House, and governor races.
Wow,
how good is that sentence?
Yes. It's because of you guys. It's because you guys went out and voted. Right, and not only did you go out and voted, you inspired other people to voting. So thanks for doing that beforehand. I know that you guys who are watching, you guys really went all out this time around. I mean, I know that people just volunteered. They volunteered to drive people to the polling stations. They kept everybody aware of what was going on. It's really admirable how you guys have just shown up. You know, no matter what happens, remember, there's something going on when you're doing that in your person. You know, there's something that's happening when you're becoming active, even if it doesn't come out the way you want.
And Cassandra asked, what's going to happen with the Georgia race? I presume you mean the governor's race. It's going to be the story. After today, it's going to be the story. If she loses by X, and I'll be able to calculate what that percentage is in terms of voters, and it was seen to be badly handled legally or not legally, it's still playing a role, which is what we're talking about. Big transition, big social transitions, you know, involve upheaval.
Looks like we got a winner. Jennifer Wexton is the winner in Virginia, House 10. She's a pickup winner. She defeated Barbara Comstock already, so we have one Virginia win. Democrats need 22 Republican seats, and she looks like she is one of them. Well done.
Oh, my God.
Nice work, Jennifer Wexton. Wow. Oh, somebody lets us know Pence's brother is being, did you just say that?
Yeah, I just said that.
Well, interesting. I wonder what they're going to find out about him. Wexworth has definitely beat, Wexton, has beat Comstock by almost 8 points. That's right.
Sorry.
It's amazing.
Amazing. What happened there? I got it. It's the wrong one.
That's right. Sorry, technical difficulties. Wow. So far it's looking good. So far we're looking good. Bye-bye, Comstock. That's what somebody has written. That's what they get for pushing Trump's hate. Yep, Christine. Karma. Some little karma. I don't think we really understand karma, but we can just use it in a sort of layman's way.
And who's the one with all the brothers and sisters
that hate him?
That hate him. Who is that guy?
I think I noted that guy someplace in our notes here.
Yeah.
Who's the fella that maybe somebody can let us know? Let's see.
Yeah. What's his name? The guy when all 6 siblings took out a television ad.
Yeah. Let's see. I think it is.
It didn't all go in.
It didn't all go in.
No.
Oh, the transfer. Okay. Well, quite an interesting race here.
Yeah, and Dem's 24.
Gillum's 50, DeSantis 48.3. Gillum is 50.7. Gillum still leading. This looks very good.
It looks very.
It actually
positive.
looks not quite as close as a lot of people were expecting. I just got the feeling that the new voters are Dems. New voters aren't Republicans. If Republicans always vote. We're still waiting a few more minutes for some places to close in Maine and New Jersey.
Sorry, someone just pointed out only 1% have been counted so far in Georgia.
Okay, so this may mean nothing. You wonder, the first percent just might be those who voted early. I bet that's really reasonable to expect. I'm not sure what it's like in Georgia, but in California, a lot of the voters went in the afternoon or evening because they couldn't get time off of work. And could somebody please explain to me why voting is on a work day?
Oh, it's a scandal.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. We always have it on a
Saturday.
Or if it is on a Tuesday, it should be a national holiday. Except that's not going to help because people have such bad conditions, they still wouldn't get the time off.
That's true.
In Australia, legally, your boss has to give you 4 hours off to vote.
Yep. And you get fined if you don't vote. You have to pay, what, $100?
No, nothing really. What happens is compulsory voting. However, if you don't vote, you get a letter saying, naughty, you didn't vote. And it can be between $20 and $50. And if you don't pay it, because I've done this a couple of times accidentally, nothing happens. And I think that's a good system. It
could be
there. You don't get punished.
It's sort of a threat.
It's a threat, so
and
you normally
seem to take it seriously. You guys have almost 100% voting.
Yeah, we have 90% people do it.
Part of that is a feeling. I mean, one problem, of course, in America right now is we don't feel that we have the power because so many things are skewed against us, right? You've got the Electoral College, which is always going to favor conservatives.
What the fuck is the Electoral College?
It's just so goddamn complicated. I mean, and it's so unnecessary, and it's another one of those arcane things that we should have left behind a long time ago. We did not innovate that. Now there's advertising thanks to Citizens United. You can pour in as much money, even if you're a Russian. You can pour as much money into anybody's candidacy. So a lot of people just feel like they don't have a real vote. It doesn't really matter. That doesn't matter how I vote since so many people are going to believe the commercial. That seems to be changing a little bit in a positive direction.
Yeah, I think it is. And I think the other thing that's shifting and changing is that those who don't vote, I think after this are going to realise it is actually a vote by not voting. You're voting for the status quo. And if the status quo is Trump, you are supporting Trump by not voting.
And I do believe the domestic terrorism that occurred in the last month.
You'd like to think it had an impact.
It's very indicative. I think that really did get people to notice this could be a life or death issue for a lot of people. These things are, it causes us to have some kind of empathy for our fellow human when they're going to get shot merely because of their race or because of their religion or just because they're at a yoga studio. I do think it's important to spend a minute remembering those people who did lose their lives. We don't necessarily have the ability to really discuss every single case, but all of those people deserved better. They didn't deserve to.
And and in Kentucky, it was Marie Stallard and Vicky Jones who were shot in a supermarket in Kentucky, that got lost in everything that was happening.
Yes.
And also from Charlottesville.
Yes.
Heather Heyer.
People seem to forget her.
We want to pay tribute to Heather Heyer.
Yeah.
She should be a national martyr.
She should be. If you want to put up some statues, how about a statue of her?
Heather Heyer.
Yeah. Right. And I also want to send out a, big love to Blasey Ford, Christine Blasey Ford. What a courageous person. She has received from the right, at least, she has received no accolades, no thanks. what could be more patriotic than risking all of this?
All right, another snippet. Some of the polling stations in Georgia are now being kept open because of the weather. They're extending it. Well, you cut 340,000 people off and then you let 24 vote late.
Right.
But look, we won't go there. It's a gesture.
That's nice. Well, it's also like, who are they leaving the doors open for?
Yeah.
Right?
Who's
leaving the doors
the
open
door bitch?
in certain...
That's what I want to know. Who's the door bitch?
In certain white neighborhoods, oh, yeah, it's raining. Black neighborhoods, well, take a bus. Right?
Yeah, look, totally. Oh, your comments are amazing. Parkland kids did themselves proud. That has to be a huge infusion of energy for Florida, and it shows. Yeah. And it shows that the gun story will be back on the table.
Let's hope so. Because those kids, how heroic are you that you were willing to risk, Fox News, Laura Ingraham talking about your entrance into college and how inadequate you are. You're going to attack a 18-year-old kid who's gone out and spoken his truth for what this means. I do feel like gun violence has become secondary, but only because so many other issues have become more and more important and more immediate. I don't think the gun issue will go away. I think it's
and I think some of the basic stats have to come forward. Like more children were killed in school, like more people were killed in schools already 2018 than in active combat. America has got to come to grips with these basic statistics that it is not all right to have your kids at risk of death for going to school or to have them surrounded by armed guards.
Well, and
what is that? It's not my root in the 70s.
As an Australian, and I really want to point out, your government handled this in a brilliant way. I know that there were people in Queensland, where you're from, who opposed it to a degree, but your government did what they were supposed to do.
And things changed here that I think didn't change in the States. So when I was growing up, my brother tells the story that he would get on any bus or train with his friends, all with rifles, that was normal in Queensland in, 60s, 70s. So we actually did change that gun culture. But there's still too many guns.
Well, and I've just been told, when I think I read a Vice News article about this in Queensland, they went to people and said, you're going to lose your election if you support these gun laws. And the politicians actually said, I don't care about my election. It's more important that we have freedom, more important that people are not shot, while they're attending their religious services than that I get a job.
Yeah.
How heroic is that?
Yep.
How humane is that?
Yep.
Beautiful, right?
And I think the Dems have to come up with a smart single line strategy. Don't call it gun control, because if you put gun and control, and they're going to take responsible gun ownership or some
reasonable gun laws, right?
Yeah. They have to come up with a slogan. We haven't got it here today, but
Gillum is way up. Florida is way going blue. We're looking at Georgia, and it's kind of mixed. Again, we don't really know all the details here, but some counties are coming up red.
Yeah.
But it's looking blue in Ohio, 55-42 against DeWise for Cordray.
I'm just going to look up these.
Let's see what else we got coming in.
I know. It was Paul Gosa from Arizona who had the 6 siblings who said, don't vote for him, he's a prick.
And he's the outright racist, isn't he? There's one guy whose kids even say he is an outright racist. And they didn't, even his own children didn't really support him. Sad state of affairs for many American families. Being divided by the politics of today.
Yeah, but people have to put their opinions out there.
Yes, they do. They do. I mean, I think this is the time.
Oh, we've got Warren one. I guess that means Elizabeth Warren.
Is that Elizabeth Warren? I think there are 2 Warrens. Well, we have Elizabeth Warren as a winner. Yes, go Elizabeth Warren. I want you to know that's the only time I've ever really given money to a candidate was Elizabeth Warren until this election. I really like her.
Connecticut's doing well.
Maryland, Ben Cardin has won. Sheldon White has won. Tom Carper has won in Delaware.
Rhode Island.
We're looking at some good wins here, and that's for U.S. Senate. It's too early to call in Florida, but
For the Senate,
for the Senate, too early to call for Claire McCaskill and Josh Hawley. Too early, but it's close. Too early to call in Tennessee. Wow, now that is a surprise because Tennessee, we were pretty sure. I mean, that's a pretty right conservative group, and it's Marsha Blackburn, right?
Yeah,
okay, I just say no more. There's nothing nice I can say about that person. So
that's right. That will be quite.
Just nothing to say about her. Okay, let's be generous with our opinions here. We're looking at balanced power right now. 20 seats remaining. Democrats take early leads in key Senate, House, and governor races. This is across country. 2 Republican seats we need to pick up in the Senate right now. Just 2.
Must pick up 2 more.
And
they can do it. They can do it.
Is it 2 for majority or just 2 to break even? We don't know. Indiana still looking pretty red. That's not a big surprise against Donnelly, right?
I predicted Mike Braun would take it.
Yeah, it does seem.
Sometimes
like
you don't want to be right.
Yeah, sometimes you don't.
But I did pick him.
And Lena, do you sometimes ever make some predictions and you just don't put them up?
Yes.
Because I just don't want people to be
demotivated. I did 3
motivated.
governor races in a row, 3 little ones, people I didn't know, just didn't know, and they were all Republican. I thought, I didn't shy away other times of putting up ones like Braun the Ring, but I didn't want those 3 together. They were predictable redneck states. Right. I've been pulled up on the definition of redneck. Was it you telling me about the red scarf?
No, the redneck is where you're working in the sun and your neck gets red.
Oh, okay.
From the burn, right?
Okay.
From the burn on your neck, of course you're very lily white, just like me, and your neck gets red. Try to avoid this at all costs, but it's going to happen, especially in places where you would be working in that regard as a farmer.
The ones I thought would stay Republican were, and they liked the immigration.
Another women. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
Tom Wolf won in Pennsylvania governor. We got 1 red winner. That's Charlie Baker in Massachusetts.
Shame on Massachusetts.
For shame, right?
Shame.
He is the incumbent, so I don't think that's a big surprise. Yeah. Let's see. We're looking at 8 Dem governors and 8 Republican governors. It is split 50-50. Wow. So exciting.
And the polls are closing all down the East Coast now.
They're starting to close.
Citadel, thank you, Citadel. I love your comments. America is giving Trump 2 middle fingers dipped in blue. So poetic.
Yes, Spand is looking good in Florida. We've got 52.9% in Florida for the Democrat and 47.1%
for the Republican.
Sorry, reverse. 52 for the Republican. So they are not perfect here. Although Shapiro is doing well in Florida over Buchanan.
And Cordray is as well.
And Cordray is doing very well. So we're
sorry, we've got Beto 66% coming through on from our country.
Beto. I think nobody's calling Beto.
No one's
CNN
calling
yet.
Beto.
They're being very cautious.
No.
Remember too, all these people are being very, very cautious because last time around they were not cautious and everybody
65% in Texas.
Beto, man.
Tell us about
Tell
Texas.
us more Beto. We want to know about Beto. Right. Great.
45 is in real trouble is another comment. Absolutely.
Yes,
this is not a good story.
It's not a good story
for a malignant narcissist.
Right.
This is entering nightmare country and it's only early.
Well, Donald Trump can't really blame it on anybody else. I mean, he sold himself.
I think you'll find he can. I think you'll find
he can
everyone else's fault.
He can try it to claim it's everybody else's fault.
No,
but that's not really going to do him any political good.
No.
Right. Telling other Republicans it's their fault that he cost the elections bad. Again, we're looking at Nelson, who is a little bit ahead, not as much as before, but it's 50.3. And Gillum is 49.6 over DeSantis, 49.2. Please keep in mind these are very early numbers. They are not. They're not yet the answers. These are all very close, especially even in Florida. Although it does look pretty good.
Trump will blame China.
Trump will blame China.
Why not?
Hillary.
That's right.
It's Hillary's fault. I think what other country could be? Who else could Trump blame? It's Dave and Lena's fault.
Hello from Aruba. Hello back.
Aruba. Wow.
Right. Donnelly turned his back on the workers, and that was his downfall.
Yep.
Exactly. This next election, 2020, is going to be about workers and workers' conditions and bring back the unions. And it's going to be a different world.
Hello from Boston. We also got Trump will blame Obama and Oprah. Okay, no doubt. No doubt. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of blue voting. Lots of people who are telling us they just came back from voting blue. How awesome.
Oh, here we go. He'll blame Canada and possibly Iran. So it'll be
sure it's everyone's fault. Right.
Oh, this is so exciting.
Wow.
What have we got here?
That's some more states. Let's see. House is 34-27. Senate 31-42 right now. That's blue 31-42.
Oh, Beto, 66%.
Is way ahead.
He's way ahead. He is there.
Early voters. Beto is 66 to Cruz's.
Oh,
he's just wiping the floor with Cruz.
Oh, it's good night, Irene. For Ted Cruz.
Oh, man.
Oh.
And talk about our least favorite Republican, man. I mean, seriously. Yeah. Did he crawl out of a swamp into, Texas?
40.
Wow. And Beto. You know what I really like about Beto? It's not just the excitement. It is also, it seems like he's coming up with some ideas. It seems like he's actually not mealy-mouthed, and he responds to people who ask about abortion, and he responds, I believe in a woman's right to choose.
And I also admire him because he defended the athletes who took the knee.
That's pretty brave.
In Texas. He took it on from day one.
Brave.
And he very calmly said, when it came up, it is your right to protest, he would say to someone. It's my right to protest. That is what being American is about.
Yes.
The right to do this. And that just shuts them up.
Right, right. It does seem true.
You've got to push.
One thing about Texas is they do like independence. They do prefer, this is my ranch, that's your ranch.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what to do. I think that the Texans do respect that. And I think that,
which is why
like Cruz isn't so popular for that reason. He's just kissing.
But also, that's why Texas doesn't want the stupid wall.
Right.
Because Texans have a lot of interaction.
Whoa, Gillum and DeSantis are in a dead heat, 54.9 to 54.9. Sorry, 49.4. 49.4. Wow, dead heat.
Oh, Lordy.
Who knows where this one's going? Well, okay.
This is like watching a horse race and you've got money on it. It's true, isn't it? There's that tension.
Wow.
Beto is unafraid and authentic.
He is.
That was the phrase. Thank you, viewers. I believe him. That's it.
Yeah.
And he remembers that it's actually about public service. It's about talking to people and listening to people.
He seems also not like a politician, rides a skateboard. I think he was in a rock band where he was wearing a dress. It's like, I feel like he is like all, regular person, every other, guy. I'll just put it that way. Every, decent, respectable white guy who isn't a bigot. That's what he seems like.
Exactly. I just got what are we watching? We're on CNN live stream if you want the same one with the sound down.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys go to a variety of different places to see what's
others
going
are
on.
watching MSNBC, which is fair enough.
Right.
Yeah, Beto is authentic again. Authentic is the word. Let's give it to him.
Yeah.
Positive energy to Gillum. Yes.
Yes, we're sending some vibes to going on.
Woohoo! Go Beto!
Burn some more sage here, you guys.
Yeah, get that sage.
I got the de-stress. Incense going on too. You guys don't get too wrapped up in this because we don't want anybody getting ill over this. It's really possible. It's really possible. Too much
excitement.
I don't know about you, but I look at statistics sometimes in the last month and my heart starts pounding. I'm so nervous.
Yeah.
I really do recommend, take some time to take a breath, meditate, rest, burn incense. It's not good for your heart to go through all of this excitement.
No,
it'll be great
about that later.
It'll be great if we win.
Exciting.
Right, then we can just go crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Here we go. Well, it's neck and neck in Florida, isn't it?
Oh, your comments are great, guys. Hi from Southern Oregon.
Hello.
Oregon. Sorry.
Yeah.
San Antonio. Freaking with you. Oh, look.
Yeah, it's super close.
It's all happening here. Oh, they can't get out of Florida here, but it's...
Okay, now Scott looks like... Okay, this is county by county.
there's some Republican counties are getting up there in Florida, but let's hope the alligators are out and about. Oh, who said that? What a dreadful thing to suggest. Oh, no. Double dose tonight. Nevada. Oh, California loves us both.
Bill Nelson does seem to be beating Scott.
And yes, by a lot. He should be in. Nelson should be there.
Okay.
What?
So is that all counties?
No, that was just a thing that Gillum was ahead by a lot more.
That's one county.
Yeah.
Okay. They're looking at county by county.
I see. That's why it changed.
They're looking at county by county in Japan. Yeah. Sorry, in Japan, in Florida.
Oh, thanks for the emojis, guys.
Thanks for the emojis. That's great. Right. Good vibes.
Did you hear that Mueller may be dropping the new bomb by Friday? Right.
Wow,
okay. So we have to talk about that. We sort of have differing opinions on this, don't we? Because we're all waiting with bated breath.
Right.
For Mueller.
I thought it would be sooner.
Yeah.
But she's thinking later.
Sooner camp. Yeah. So that's what you're talking about. We're hearing things. It could be as near as next Friday, boom, boom. I'm a bit more hesitant. Like, I'm putting myself in Mueller's shoes, if you like, as if I could feel his shoes.
Right.
Saint Bob. But if it's too close on the heels of the election, it leaves the criticism. If we knew this shit about these people, we would not have voted for them and stuff. I'm a bit worried about it being too close.
Right.
I don't mind being wrong, as you know, viewers. I have no problem with being wrong. If he lands it, he lands it. But there's a bit to be gained by just putting a little bit of distance here. But at the end of the day, who cares? Bring it on. You know? But I think it might be. So what I'm saying is, don't get too disappointed if it isn't next Friday.
It might be necessary to do this fairly slowly. There doesn't seem to be as much emphasis to hurry up. Even if they get rid of Mueller somehow, those indictments are just going out to very different, they're going out to district attorneys in different courthouses. So all of it will happen, even if they get rid of Rosenstein and Mueller. It seems right now that those indictments are going through. So there's not necessarily such a strong reason to put those things out there. What do you think? Do you think the Dems are going to go right for the impeachment or no, if they win?
I think they'll be divided. I think there'll be those within the Dems who go, this is it, let's impeach.
Right.
I'm on the other side of that too. I think even though he's so impeachable, if you do that, you're still going to have this disenchanted base that I feel has to live out and watch him go.
I agree.
The preferred outcome for me would be watching Trump either be demolished by the GOP saying, just go, or a health crisis, go, would be better for the country than a drawn-out impeachment. He deserves impeachment.
Right.
And don't forget, he's not off the hook. If he just goes because of a heart condition or because the GOP push him out, he's still answerable to dozens of court cases. He is going to live in a courtroom for the rest of his natural life.
Yes.
So don't worry about that if he doesn't sort of get impeached and go to jail on day two. I think it needs to play out more. People need to become disenchanted with Trump.
Yes.
2/3 of the population have worked it out. But you need as many of those diehards as you can. At the end, they're 20%. Who cares what they think?
Right.
That's the other side of the coin.
Well, it does seem like the step-by-step, when Cohen confessed, when Manafort was convicted.
Sorry, Gina Ortiz-Jones.
And she's doing really well. She's doing well.
We're in Texas. Against her.
Wow. What an upset.
Go, Ortiz-Jones.
Gina Ortiz-Jones is a very interesting character. I think she's a former military, right?
Yes.
Yes, she is. And also,
how many ex-military are now running?
Yeah.
And
openly gay.
And openly gay.
And in Texas.
They used to be Republican. If they went from the military,
they were always conservatives.
And now you've got these amazing, like Connor Lamb. What's happening with Connor, by the way,
yes,
CNN?
Come on, CNN. Where are you? TikTok.
Anyone know from what they're watching any feedback on Connor Lamb?
Right. And what we're looking at.
But these are the new Dems who are military and going.
Well, in terms of pickup opportunities, 15 Dem, 4 Republican.
Oh my God.
Wow. It's just looking pretty good for the Dems right now.
Oh my God.
Wow. And here we are in the 15th district with Wesley leading Gonzalez, right?
Caroline's put up, run those ponies. Mama needs a new pair of shoes. It is like a horse race, isn't it?
It is. Right. Great. Let's see. Texas House is looking really good for Dems. So far, I'm pretty optimistic. There are a few reds. I'm not sure about Georgia, but everywhere else seems to be doing fairly well. Now we're looking at
that's not good. Where are we?
Senate for Florida.
Where's it going? Total of held 300 seats.
Okay, so
can't see where that is.
It looks at least like Republicans or Dems are taking Florida. Yeah, Scott and
neck and neck.
Nelson are absolutely neck and neck right now.
50-50.
Wow.
Literally. Oh, come on, Florida.
Oh, boy. It's like going to be a recount. That's what I'm thinking. Wow. Yeah, 50-50 versus Scott versus Nelson. I think in the fact that it is 50-50 is fairly telling. The fact that Democrats are definitely clawing their way back in some
someone's just asked states. Where do they hit the like button on the live stream? We can't tell you because what we see isn't what you see. So maybe another viewer can get back.
Is there a thumb at the top?
Don't touch it.
Don't touch it. Sorry. Is there a thumb at the top? Look at the top of the page.
Yeah.
There might be a thumbs up.
At the top of your screen.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. No touching. No touching. Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Step away from the.
Well, we're still at 50-50.
Our picture looks great. I hope you've got a decent picture. Probably some of you are looking at furry rubbish, but it looks all right from this angle.
Right. Well,
they said thumbs up or on the bottom for you guys.
Okay.
It's different.
Right.
Okay.
So great.
So Miami-Dade County, that's still Bill Nelson creaming it. He's okay.
Right.
All right. Blue is my favorite color. Well done, Wendy.
Yes.
Yes. You have to be logged on to YouTube. Okay.
Okay.
So reading
to do the thumbs up. Okay.
Yeah. Fine. What else is happening?
Well, we're looking county by county in Florida. I think one thing about Florida, it really tells us a lot. The demographics changing in Florida, they're changing throughout the country. They do seem to always sort of indicate what's
like
up.
That.
And wow, I mean, it's just going to be pretty exciting in some of these places like Florida and Texas.
Oh my God.
50-50.
Oh, wow. Lordy.
Demographic changing seems to be an important point here.
Exactly. And that's what we've got to remember with places like Texas that has a big .com population and other things. And younger people just tend not to be as redneck. They operate in different social spaces.
They're more progressives.
I shouldn't use redneck like that. I'm sorry, viewers.
Okay.
There are some decent rednecks out there. It's not even though she uses
Lena can say this because she kind of comes from a slightly redneck background.
I come from a radically redneck state, and so
when we say that, we don't mean to be pejorative.
Yeah,
we just mean country people, farmer
the
people.
Deep North. It was called the Deep North. We had our own Trump. Right, that was Bjelke Peterson. And he just redrew all the electoral maps to favor him, like he was the king of the gerrymander. And basically he was just appalling. And he brought in a rule, I love this, no homosexual can drink in bars in Queensland. And every bartender in the state was going, how are you going to police that? Really? So he just made this law overnight, in the middle of the night. He'd just make up these outrageous laws, So I had a preview to Trump when I was growing up.
Miami-Dade County is coming up well for the Dem.
Oh, yeah, Broward County.
Yeah, so some of these are county by county. Wow, it is looking close. Also, even if you look at the map, sometimes it appears red because those might be the less popular
and Ajeda's still a bit behind, so let's hope he picks up some here.
Well, DeSantis and Gillum are now neck and neck, too.
Oh,
it's going to be super close.
49-49. Oh, my God.
Yeah, they're looking at a couple of counties here. One just came in for DeSantis, but looks like some more popular Miami-Dade County has gone way, way blue. Right? Now, that is significant because they do represent a good deal more voters.
Yeah. MO, is that Missouri, Montana?
MO would be
Montana, maybe.
Yeah, I think MI is Missouri.
Yeah.
So Montana. Yeah.
Montana. So the evil Martha Blackburn's taking out Tennessee.
That's not surprising.
Not
We knew she was way ahead.
Ghastly
pity.
creature.
Yeah, what a ghastly woman. Yeah, how sad is that?
Yeah. So we need Richard Ojeda to make up some lost ground.
Again, O'Rourke is really creaming Cruz. This may just be early voting and it might be specific, but this seems to be one of the most exciting ones. If O'Rourke beats Cruz, that is going to be a really big deal. And it looks good. It looks really good.
I'm sorry, someone just said, the ABC just said there are a lot of Dem voters still out or something. Okay.
I wonder, maybe it's just that Dems tend to vote late, and that seems reasonable, you know. Retired people vote early, I suppose.
Someone said CNN is confusing me. That's probably why we've got the sound down.
Right, okay.
Because I'm sure it is confusing. So we
totally
just
confusing.
pull out the big obvious highlights here.
The stuff that we're really, really
So West Virginia, Manchin, who, as people have pointed out, isn't the most democratic Democrat, but look, for the point of the exercise today, we're happy to see him get over the line. He looks as if he'll pull it off.
Yeah, it looks good for him. Ooh, what's happening in Georgia?
Georgia.
We're just looking at one district in Georgia, which is not good for Bishop, but that's just one district. Right, they've only completed one district in Georgia.
Yeah, so it's early days.
It's very early, yeah.
Oh, but look, Beto takes all before him. Oh, I might have to start drinking in the morning after all.
Yeah, that's if that state goes Dem, that's just
North Carolina.
It's surprisingly Dem.
Going
so far,
blue, North Carolina.
Wow, it's 52 for the Democrat Coleman.
In North Carolina, I said Philip Price would win. We'll see what happens with Philip Price.
Right. At least McNeil is beating Hudson. Lots of North Carolina districts are coming out blue.
How extraordinary. 5 of them are blue.
0 Republicans. So that is also looking like a really significant. As we're looking at a map of the United States, we see one portion of Florida that is red, but everything else looks like all the other voting is coming through as a blue. I'm not seeing any completed red except for one portion of Florida. I guess there's another portion there in Ohio, it looks like.
Blue young folks are still working.
Yes.
That's true. Let's hope they get there.
Yes. Please go over to those young folks and, give them a ride to the
Lena, water sign, Dave, fire sign. No, I'm a Sag.
I'm water.
Yeah,
okay,
you got it reversed.
Scorpio.
But that's because we're so bonded.
Yes,
fire
exactly.
and water.
We're just kind of mixing.
We create steam.
Right. Yeah.
We are so
steam down under.
Ahead. We're totally manic, as you can say, and trust me.
Look, Donna Shalina. We love Donna. I wonder if she remembers I shined her shoes. I wonder if she'll recognize me.
Beto's still doing well. Yes. Kemp should be indicted in Georgia. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man, what a criminal. How many years did they have to deal with voting suppression?
Even Fox News is saying that the House is going to Dems. Oh my God!
What a revelation for Fox.
I try and watch 5 minutes of Fox, once a month, so I'm not stuck in my echo chamber. And after a big thing happens, it's really bad for Trump or something, they go to their archive footage of the San Diego elephant care.
Right.
And stuff. And they're working out their position on how to,
Generally speaking, I can't stand even the way that Fox News asks the question. It's always laden with all these fake facts that are really circular reasoning type questions.
Yeah,
I can't watch it for 5 minutes.
No, American.
Words. So let's see. Tell us if it is freezing. We should be all right, but.
Okay, it's tight in this Beto 51, Cruz 48.
So it's still 3 for Bet. That is impressive. And that was one of those races that was looking absolutely neck and neck.
Yeah, and that's with 32% of the vote counted. Oh, key race alert! Key race alert!
Right. Yeah, it's looking good.
Wow.
Right.
Beto ahead. Few people have frozen screens.
That's right. Okay, some people, it seems to be waking up here. Let's see.
Look, What we might do, we could take a short
Should
break.
we take our break now?
Yeah.
Okay.
While this, and we'll reboot too.
Okay.
So we'll reconvene just in 15 minutes or something.
Yeah, maybe let's give us
for you?
maybe 20, right?
20.
20.
We'll be back. So I'll put on some music for. No, will I do that or will that confuse the thing?
I think I'll confuse the thing.
Yeah.
Let's just put it on hold, but we will be back in 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
With some new results.
So please hang in there.
Hang in there.
Hang in there.
Right. Meditate. Think positive. It's all gonna be good.
Reboot, or should we just leave it on and come back?
I think maybe we can can we pause it? Do we know how to pause?
No, we don't know how to pause.
pause.
I think we're going to leave it. So
We'll
you're
leave it
going to
on.
see a wall.
You're gonna see our beautiful wall. Okay.
Okay, we
We're
need
back.
something to eat.
Okay,
And
excuse us.
fortify. So we haven't really gone
We
anywhere.
haven't gone anywhere. We're right here.
Should be a sign. We'll be back. I'm starving.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. I'll just keep wandering back. Looking at notes, guys. Getting ready for the next section. Ohio governor looks like Richard Cordray, Democrat, is ahead for Ohio governor.
Wow, and that was another key state, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
We just they would get progressive at all.
Oh my God. While Dave's heating up some food for us, I'll just say I love that with Andrew Gillum in the debate. And DeSantis, you calling me racist? And he said, I'm not calling you racist. I'm just saying racists love you. I think that was a great comeback, and he's so right, you know. So, Florida, it's very close. Senate, Texas ahead by 1.58. West Virginia ahead by 8.63 for the Senate. West Virginia looks as if it's going there. Oh my God.
West Virginia's going left?
It looks like it.
Wow, for Ojeda?
No, he's not Senate, I think.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not
Wow, so exciting.
sure. Okay, guys, yeah, I'm just looking. Yes, I agree with you, Citadel. Trump will be working down a list of people to blame until he reaches Santa Claus. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Now, viewers, we want you to know it's your fault if Trump loses. Okay? It's just because of you guys.
Not our fault. That's right. Yeah. Okay, just hang in there. We're walking back and forth. This is very down home, you know. Do you like Dave's painting? A painting of the nuns. They're sort of like the Sisters of Mercy. I kind of love them. They're out there. Oh, thank you, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we eat your half and I'll chat and then I'll eat mine. Okay, so I'm going to hold the fort while Dave's eating and then we'll move around. Okay. 15 Democrats are leading in Republican districts. Oh my God, I'm loving this. Yeah, Teresa said she'll take the blame for the blue wave. That's fair enough.
Okay, Teresa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, someone's watching CNN but listening to us. That's probably a good way to do it. Oh, my God. Oh, love your comments, guys. Come on, loading up. Here we go. Nervous, yes, I'm not surprised. No, we won't be taking a nap, but we will have to just move around every now and again because it's so intense and it's so full on.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
Where are we? Oh, sorry, Rick Scott. Bill Nelson is really close. It's too close to call, I think.
Yeah.
DeSantis Gillum, again, pretty dang close.
Yeah, it's under 1% each thing.
Uh-huh.
Oh, we need it. What's going on with Florida? Well, yeah, neck and neck, neck and neck.
Neck and neck stuff.
Oh, look out.
It does seem like time favors the Democrats. It does seem like the more progressive voters are voting a little bit later.
Yeah, let's hope.
But I don't know.
Me.
I mean, they may be closed now regardless, but it is close. Too close to
hello
call.
to New Zealand too.
Too close to call in Florida. Did you want to have your
Kia
sandwich?
ora. Yeah, I'm gonna have my sandwich now. I'll leave you.
All right, and while I wait, let's throw in a little bit of meditation here. I know this can be very stressful. It always helps me if I just picture or even write down what I want, right? So we might write down what kind of government we want, right? I'd like a government that was honest, fair, and talked about real issues in politics. That's what I would like. Now, if I think about this, I dream about what that would be like. I think that's a little message to the universe that helps us all out. It does help it arrive. Now, this doesn't ever work immediately. It's not like TikTok, we can count on it next week, and it never seems to work out the way that we want. But all of the things that we put out there as desires, just as in the power of positive thinking, they do matter, right? And I think it matters now. I think if we are focusing on a good government, we will eventually get a good government. Again, it might take a while. Sometimes when you're doing these kind of work, you get the opposite, so you can sort of deal with it. And that's how I think Trump is. I think he's really an opposite, right? If you have a moment, write down the government that you'd want, right? I'd like a government that was fair and free. And don't forget to think about that and say, how do I feel about this? If I had this perfect government that really, really served the people, all of the people, what would it feel like? For me, it would feel like freedom. It would feel like integrity. It would feel like balance, right? Don't forget to go to those feelings and say, wow, balance. Oh, I'm feeling like balance. And if you kind of bring it up in your heart, in my experience, it really does help for these things to evolve. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of people on this planet. We can't control them, but you can control your future, maybe just a little bit. And it certainly helps to write down what you want, so that the universe knows to deliver it to you. Let's take a look. Wow, now Bill Nelson is way up in some counties over Scott. For example, he's up 70 in Broward County. All right, that's looking quite good. Manchin looks like he's way succeeding in West Virginia. 43 people in the House, 43 versus 45 Republicans in the House. Senate is 31 Democrats versus 42 Republicans. Again, these are very early numbers. They may well favor the Republicans, right? But Bill Nelson looks like he's cleaning up against Rick Scott. And I think this is general. It's just not just one county, but maybe it is Miami-Dade, right? We're looking at some decent numbers here. Again, it's not a, I'm not sure we call it a wave yet. Because it's just way too early to tell. The numbers aren't hugely supporting Democrats, but they do seem to a little bit supporting the Democrats, right? Wow, and yes, getting more confidence from the shirt. Thanks very much. Again, I mean, Thrift Town, I think it was less than $2, right? I really truly believe in recycling furniture and clothing and all that stuff. I think it's great for our planet. It's an important karma, if I can use that term, right? So Kemp is still way ahead of Abrams, but please remember this is just early voting. It could very well depend on how things are being counted. Pritzker over Rauner in Illinois. Pritzker is way ahead by 3 points in Illinois. Right, we're looking at Travis County. O'Rourke is cleaning up over Cruz. What an exciting story! I almost want O'Rourke to win more than any other Democrat, just because he is so awesome, you know. Yeah. And
he is the future.
He is the future. I mean, I feel like Gillum is too. I feel like the Abrams, the Georgia lady, is too. I'm just not sure about the forces against them. It is somewhat interesting that Texas is a little bit more flexible, right? Looks like Hager and Texas is doing well against Carter. we're definitely seeing good O'Rourke numbers. Wow, you guys, that's really awesome. I thought that one was a long shot in Texas. I think even the fact that even Beto got close, I'm getting Australianized. Beto got close in Texas. Just the mere fact that he got close is a big win. It just shows where things are shifting. Next time around, they will be even stronger to the left than they are right now. Taylor in Virginia seems to be beating Luria. Taylor is the Republican, right? But not by 3 points, 2.5 points. Virginia seems to be beating Cockburn, right? And Virginia is 55% for Riggleman over Cockburn. That's 10 points over, right? Well, there is one county that is definitely voting for Cruz, but that's just one county. Now, if we look at Texas, interestingly enough, all along the coast, we're seeing good numbers for O'Rourke. Those do seem to be more highly populated than the red portions of the state. Now, Dallas County, for example, Beto is doing very well against Cruz. In the more populous places, they are showing a definite strength for Dems. Wow, great. And let's see. Again, great numbers for O'Rourke. We really cannot overstate. The numbers do look terrific for O'Rourke over Cruz. I'm very hopeful about this. I think we should be guardedly optimistic, but I am optimistic. Right? No Gillum. I'm not seeing numbers on Gillum yet. One person has asked about Gillum. Those don't seem to. They don't seem to be focusing on him at the moment. Abbott is doing well against Valdez, but again, we keep going back to the Texas. We really only need one of these major red states to go blue to have a chance of controlling the Senate, and that looks great in Texas, right? Unfortunately, some other Dems like Heidi Heitkamp may not be doing quite as well as we would like, but it looks like that was predictable, whereas O'Rourke was not. Look at him go, man. Look at that man go. The numbers are just fantastic for him.
Oh, awesome.
Wow.
Okay, more on our chat line. It's just rebooting
It's
over
rebooting.
here.
Hope we're all good. Yep, O'Rourke. Bexar County coming in for O'Rourke.
Yeah, Trump would be eating a tray of McDonald's burgers right now and downing a liter of Diet Coke. Couldn't agree more.
Couldn't agree more. It'll be good for you. You just keep doing that.
No, just saying Trump would be.
Oh, he would be. Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And having a handful of. We know he's got a tame doctor. He's got a Dr. Feelgood, right?
Yeah, right.
So that's why he never sleeps. He doesn't take the second half of his pills.
The bread was whole wheat. I want you to understand. We are. We do have an eye on our health. Let me tell you, Lena. I mean, thin as a rail. She could eat it. You can eat anything.
Anything.
Oh,
No.
Not fair.
Okay. Bexar is pronounced bear.
So
and the X is silent. We'll try and remember.
Oh, okay. So it's bear. That's the whole name.
Yeah.
And I'm trying not to be Australian.
I know, and it's hard when you are in another country.
It sure is.
Because you don't hear the names
we keep getting the names in Australia.
We read them, but we don't hear them.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be some howlers.
This is a place in Australia. Let me know. You go to a Mexican restaurant. I don't advise this, and they serve you a tortilla, right? And then they serve you rotten salsa. I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
Right, but you do mess up on. Wow, what are we looking at? 21 and 21 in the House. It looks like it is
a dead heat in the House
right.
at the moment. Oh my God!
Wow.
I'm just going to put the sound up for a second and see what they're saying.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Hold on a minute. I'll just do it here. It's these speakers, I think.
Okay.
Let's just see what CNN
where
says.
Democrats are looking right now and feeling good, looking at the fact that they're really breathing down the necks of the Republicans when it comes to control of the House. As just to remind our viewers, we have already called 2 congressional seats as flips in Virginia and in Florida, going from Republican control to Democratic control.
2 flip seats.
There are 21 seats, Republican-held seats, where Democrats are in the lead. And just as a reminder for the big picture, 435 congressional seats.
That's all you need.
CNN is considering about 97 of them seats to watch. And of the 97, the Republicans are playing defense on 88 of them. The map favors Democrats when it comes to control of the House. And whether or not Democrats will be able to take control of the House, the map when it comes to the Senate favors Republicans.
It's a significant moment that Democrats are anxious, of course, to become the majority in the House of Representatives, because the implication of that, the meaning of that is so significant, it would have a tremendous impact on the President of the United States if the Democrats have subpoena power, oversight, majority in the House.
That's right. I mean, look, when Republicans control...
I just want to think that I want to mention, how important is it, there's so many things at stake here. But one simple thing that it looks like the left, Democrats, will definitely achieve is winning the House. And, why do you think that's important?
Well, there's the three arms of government. Now, what another big thing that's happened through Trump world, I think, is there are now millions of Americans who actually know more about their political system than they did before.
Right.
Like, we have really committed onto it, viewers. But in the broader, in any country, you get most people who are very ho-hum about politics. So for the Dems to retake the House, it means one of those whole arms are in Democrat hands, obviously. And like Wolf Blitzer was saying, they have powers that come with that. But also the Republicans aren't a single homogenous body anymore. There's a lot who don't like him and his economic policies, which are disastrous.
Yes, yeah.
We should just talk about that for a moment.
Right. Well, we can imagine,
tariffs.
In the next 2 years, we will see what happens with the economy that Trump's created. Let's not forget this man has bankrupted many of his businesses already. And the national debt is just skyrocketing right now since we essentially had a tax cut for the super rich. It has been quite a turn that the Republicans now don't seem to care about deficits whatsoever. Now they got the money in their offshore, they now seem to care very little about this. But it does seem that once the Democrats take the House, they can just subpoena after subpoena after subpoena, and at least take these people to task. Perhaps force them to speak in front of a grand jury. If not Trump, then everybody around him is going to be compelled to tell the truth or go to prison. And it doesn't look like he's going to be able to blanket, just get all these people off and let them walk away from criminal activity. Right.
Exactly.
So it's almost certain that we will at least have some accountability. And I think that we all need to sort of embrace the idea of accountability
and I wouldn't
as a minimum.
And I wouldn't be counting on any great policy decisions because the Republicans have had all three arms and couldn't pass anything. So nothing's going to go through significantly. So the Democrats will play the role of obstructionists. But as one viewer said, look, basically, we just have to wait for the old guard to die off.
Yes.
I think young America is a different story. And this is a crucial window into, I think, people waking up politically, generally, waking up. And it's a big wake-up call for the Dems themselves. The ones who are doing well are the lefty candidates, not middle of the road. And the other ones who are talking home issues. People vote on local issues, and they're really responding to their states, individually.
So looks like Arlington is in South Carolina is almost at 52% versus 48 for the Democrat, right?
So she's nudging ahead.
She's nudging ahead a little bit. In Texas, we're seeing Klopser with a blue at almost 61% versus a 37% for the Republican. Again, generally these look pretty favorable to the left. Now we're probably only counting the East Coast. This is not necessarily at all representative of the nation, but places like Florida do appear to be bellwethers.
Yeah, this is from Christine VR and Lisa Clausen. Yeah, America is liberal underneath. It just hasn't had, I was starting to talk about this before, like Americans expect nothing from their government.
Yes.
The idea is leave me alone. Good government is a government that leaves you alone. And that has always worked for the Republicans. So even though people are impoverished in the Appalachians and in really poor states, they continue to vote Republican because when you've got nothing left, you've got your gun and your car. And so I think identity politics needs to be inclusive of these communities who are the biggest consumers of Medicaid and other services, and they vote against those things.
Yes.
So that's going to turn around, I think, thanks to the Richard Ojeda and stuff, even if he doesn't get up. The conversations are being had that have never been had.
Yeah, these are new conversations. Well, the right can always bring fear into the picture. Just right after 9/11, Bush got a huge surge because people people do things based on fear, especially of another. Republicans are having difficulty bringing up these fear questions. Now you got this caravan that's thousands of miles away, which we're now sending, $1 million a day to have some border guards sit there and do nothing?
There's no money for schools or hospitals,
no money for schools.
But there's always money for detention.
Always money for war, too.
War and prisons. Like how much it costs to keep someone in jail. Like in Australia, we have a very high incarceration rate of Indigenous youth. And it costs $176,000 a year to keep one juvenile in detention.
Can we just pay a social worker half of that money?
Yeah,
maybe they would prevent some of those people from becoming...
Exactly, and use facilities and diversionary staff, But people love punishment, so we've got to move out of that mentality. If what you really want is a better result, you want someone to get out of jail who's not going to reoffend. When you have the punitive system, reoffending's massively high, right? So these programs work, and smaller amounts of money invested early save lots of money.
Yes,
it's never about the dollars, really.
Well, let's face it. If you're a politician now, you're going to show your results next year. Like, look how well I did. Well, how much of an economy it takes 10 years to evolve. If you help, children, you make them better people and better college-educated people. That's 20 years away, and you're going to be a retired politician by that time. So what do you care? There's this very short-term thinking that does tend to favor the Republicans.
And it's also everywhere. Like Australia is moving more to the right, and so. But what the Dems need to do too, next time they're in for real, is pump money into public education. Pay teachers well.
A reasonable amount,
and make it a profession to be proud of with a professional ladder that they can climb. And if you're going to have a real democracy, and you know what? America is almost at the stage of having a democracy. It's almost got people turning out to vote in larger numbers. So not voting.
We got a winner in Rhode Island. It looks like Democratic winner Gina Raimondo. Tell us if I've mispronounced her name, but she is a winner. DeSantis and Gillum are neck and neck. We're looking from one portion to the other.
1.2%.
A little bit better for DeSantis at this moment, but we've seen it go the other way. In the last hour, we've seen it change for Gillum. So I don't think this is a predictable race yet. Here's one other interesting fact about America-Australia. Finally, Trump just offered up an American ambassador to Australia. This literally happened last week. For the past 2 years, I've been living here with no ambassador. If I had to use the ambassador, I'm not sure who I would ask. Mike DeWine is the Republican. He is ahead of Richard Corday, but just by less than a point.
Yeah.
Ohio, these are all races that are way too early, I think, for anyone to call.
Oh, my God. It's so
cliffhanger. We might be here all night, you guys.
Beverly just says the GOP wants to privatize everything, and that's happening here too. They want to privatize prisons and privatize. Excuse me. How do you make a profit off a prison? Well, you do that by getting the government contract and making conditions really bad for prisoners and guards, because that's how you save money and make this profit margin. No,
you don't follow some rules.
Governments have to step up to their basic responsibilities, which are roads and schools and hospitals.
Prisons also, in wars, we should be paying for our own war instead of subsidizing a corporation to do so, right? We're always being told that these things will save us money. I'm from California. I lived in the Bay Area for many years. Homeless people are literally everywhere. In order to get to your $5,000 a month, one-bedroom apartment, You literally have to climb over several homeless people. I am not exaggerating. That is my life experience. I do not blame these homeless people. I know people who are very intelligent and just became homeless for one reason or another because of medical issues or psychological problems. And, how is that good for your economy? How's that good for the, police to be able to support people if they're constantly going around putting people who really should be in hospitals instead of doing their job? They're dealing with the, psychologically, imbalanced. It's really not a fair system. And I don't really think that it's beneficial, although it does benefit conservatives in suburbs who don't have to deal with these kind of issues involving homeless.
And homelessness in Australia, the biggest, fastest growing group of homeless is women over 50.
Wow.
This is a demographic that was not homeless before.
Yes.
And it's a mix of housing affordability being a real issue. It's very expensive to rent or buy in Australia. You have to do something about housing. It's really high real estate.
You guys have much more higher rates of home ownership than we do, but that is declining. Yeah, that's changing.
And we need to look at systems like Europe where you can rent in the inner city, but you can get a 50-year lease and a 90-year lease. You can actually leave your flat to your children.
Wow.
That's rented. We need combinations of ideas.
Yeah. It's
public
not so
housing,
simple.
rent by, different things.
So can we turn the volume on a little bit, see what's going on?
John, let's take a look at
more results.
Right
Here we
now,
go.
It's a key race. 96% of the vote is in. Let's take a look at the Senate contest.
96% of the vote in a state as big as Florida. Not that big of a lead. 63,638 votes for Rick Scott.
Tiny bit for Rick Scott,
but
but it's really razor thin.
In what's left, can you come back? And so you go through it. Let's take a look. 87% Miami-Dade County. You're starting to get nervous if you're Bill Nelson. That's 63,000 votes. Can you make it up? Yes. Look how many votes are coming in down here. He has more than 450,000. Republican, almost 300,000. So there are votes to be had here in Miami-Dade. Are there enough for Bill Nelson? That's what they're doing, checking in with all these precincts right now and doing their math.
It's too close to call. It's way too close to call.
We're up to 70% now in Broward County. Remember last time you were here, this was at 51. So more votes are coming in. The Democrat is holding his lead. The question is, with the 30% left, again, that's 200,000 votes, 200,000 plus votes with 70% in. Is there in that 30% left enough?
Wow.
Do the quick math. Possible. It is possible. And then you start looking at the map. I just want to check here. This came in early, 100% for Palm Beach County. That came in early tonight. I just want to double check that to see. So you're the Democrats. You're saying where else? Are there population centers, urban areas, suburbs where we can pick up votes? You're at 96% here. So some, but you can't count on a lot up there at Orange County. Come back out. Let's come over here and start looking. These are much more competitive areas of the state. You get Tampa, St. Pete, Bill Nelson winning 91%. If he keeps that margin, again, it's some. In a close race, every vote counts. The bigger areas, Miami-Dade and Broward, where you're looking for, analysis come in at 100%. So most of them are in there. So the other question is, in the Scott campaign, can you add? Can you add votes? And so you have one county here in the northern part of the state, up in the Panhandle, very tiny though. Some votes for Bill Nelson. Every vote counts in a close race, but some votes. But most of these other areas, you come over here. This is the biggest county in the Panhandle, 86%. So Rick Scott can count on moving up a little bit here. But you look at this right now. I just want to come back and check it every couple seconds statewide to see where we are. Just shy of 63,000 votes.
It's 50,
in a state like Florida. Let's go back to one of Rick Scott's closer elections. Then we'll look at the governor's race. I just want to go back to Rick Scott's election as governor, 48, 47. He does this. This is what Rick Scott does when he wins, 49, 48. This is the history. And so these races are always close. Now we're switching to the governor's race. Just showing the Senate race. Key. Same dynamics at play here. Can Andrew Gillum, the mayor of Tallahassee, overcome 85,000 votes? That's a little bigger, right? 20,000 votes more to lead than in the Senate race. Can he overcome that? We're looking at the very same places. We're coming down again. 87% of the precincts reporting here. Again, Andrew Gillum running up a big healthy lead here in a place where you're talking about giant vote totals. So is it possible? Yes. It's starting to get tighter. You're starting to think, are we going to get all those votes? Are they going to come in here again? Broward County, 9.5% statewide voting population. We don't know what the turnout is right there tonight, but it's 9%, maybe a little more, maybe a little less of the vote that's going to come in tonight. Andrew Gillum running up a healthy, very healthy margin there. The question is, they're looking at their voting list, trying to figure out, are there enough? Because if you go through most of the other blue parts of the state, 94, smaller county, there might be a little bit here. Let's just check randomly some of these more Republican counties in the middle, 100%, 100%, 100%. This one more to be safe, 100%. So if you're in the Republican campaign, Most of your votes in. You got a little bit more coming in up here. In the
Wow.
Democratic campaign, that's a big number. That's the race for governor. Come over and look at the race for Senate. It's a smaller number, but still a significant number if you're Bill Nelson. Both the Democrats in the Senate and the governor's race were leading narrowly in the polls coming in. The question is, will they be rescued by the last Democratic votes in Miami-Dade and Broward County, which is often the case.
Ooh, is it close? Wow, what a cliffhanger, you guys.
Comeback. Will they be rescued? This is where, if it's going to happen, Wolf, there are a few others in other places, but it's going to have to happen right down here.
Looks like Dade County is really the most important one.
Texas,
Yeah, so look towards
again,
Dade.
Marquis Senate race. Let's come over here. Texas is blue.
Oh, Texas. Hold on, I'll just hear about Texas.
Let's go back and see it in Texas.
O'Rourke winning in Texas. Some good news for everyone.
Did you watch this play out?
By 2 points.
51 to 49, if you round them up. 84,000 votes. Again, it sounds like a big, healthy lead. Giant state of Texas. You want more. You watch this starting to fill in. If you bet O'Rourke, as you have to report. So you're thinking, okay.
Caramelized wafer is a troll, and you have to hold
you come down
the
here.
cursor on the name,
How are we gonna
and
do
it'll give you a
Inheritance,
block.
a county that's increasingly turning Democrat. Houston is sprawling. The Houston suburbs are growing.
Sorry, I'm
It's
just
more
turning
diverse,
this down.
it's
We're
more
trying to get
Democratic.
rid of this troll.
Do I hit remove or hide,
Hide
user?
user.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get rid of.
If you guys
The
feel
troll.
any, and if you see any trolls, just ignore that stuff. It's
Yeah.
just nonsense. Some of it is just it's a sort of.
A bot.
Well, also, I mean, if it's really a person, do you really have nothing better to do than sit around and watch somebody else's video so you can critique it?
Yeah.
It's not really.
And some of
important.
you have reported and blocked
Right.
caramelized
Thank you very
wafer.
much.
Great,
Thanks for letting us know, you guys.
Yeah.
We don't care for trolls. happy to get rid of
we can do
them.
trolls.
O'Rourke is doing really well, you guys. I mean, I'm ready to almost call. I'm tempted to call. I'm tempted to call Texas. I'm not going to, but it's getting pretty tempting to look at it. Yeah, that O'Rourke looks really, really good. I'm a little bit disheartened about Florida, but just a tiny bit. I think it's going to be a real cliffhanger for that one. But O'Rourke is doing really, really pretty well in a place that they thought was locked in for. They thought was absolutely locked in
For the
Cruz.
demonic Cruz.
I mean, the Republicans have controlled that state for 30 years since Bush. It has been a big change, right? Yeah. President Johnson, LBJ, when he signed the Civil Rights Act, he recognized that he was going to lose Southern voters. All the people that were, sort of on the more racial white side, they abandoned the Democratic Party and went Republican when he signed that act. So LBJ was from Texas. And
Certainly was.
And he signed it, although it was against his own interests. But when he signed it, he said, "We're going to lose. Next election, we will lose because we will lose those voters."
There's also another moral in the LBJ story. The slogan in Australia was "All the way with LBJ."
Oh yeah,
right, which was sending Australian soldiers to Vietnam. And at the time when the marches and the protests started, it divided families because the parents tended to be very conservative in the sense that when England called or the USA called, Australia just went off as part of the thing. And for the first time, questioning it.
So if you were winners, Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar, you can remember she was one of the people, Kirsten Gillibrand, yeah.
New York.
The former Martin Heinrich.
New Mexico.
New Mexico has one blue.
Martin Heinrich.
So far, we've got 4 blue Senate states. They're still calling Texas. Too early to call. We still don't know. Wow, neck and neck. Too early to call in Arizona. Another key important state. Too early to call in North Dakota. That's impressive.
Yeah, she's caught up.
We thought she was going to be way behind. So let's give a little love to Heidi. We know she was really, really awesome in the fact that she knew it was political suicide and voted against Kavanaugh. She should definitely be commended. She may not be as progressive as some of us like, but what a courageous woman to do what she did. That was fantastic. Let's see. This is the present balance of power. I think they're showing, right? And they've got 23 seats remaining. We just need 2 more Republican seats in the Senate.
Oh,
close. Close. We could pick them up. Imagine we get Texas and maybe Florida. We'd be there with a 50-50.
Yeah, and California. They must pick up some.
I think, yeah. Oh, wow. Now the latest numbers for O'Rourke put him 0.1% over Cruz. Oh, wow. Come on, young people. I know maybe it's a little late for you. Come out and vote. Wow. And it's very close in Rick Scott versus Nelson. It is really, so close, too close to call. In Indiana, it looks like it's maybe a done deal. Mike Braun versus Joe Donnelly.
Yeah.
We knew that was going to be a pretty tough race for Democrats. I don't think anybody was even counting on the possibility that might change. Those Indianans, I tell you, Hoosiers are conservative. Yeah, Joe Manchin is 51 versus Morrissey for 44. Joe Manchin is in Virginia, right?
Yeah.
West Virginia?
Yeah, West Virginia.
Right. Josh Hawley seems to be winning in Missouri against McCaskill by a large number. Again, pretty conservative. I'm not a big. I don't really believe that Missouri has such a huge progressive group.
We haven't heard anything about the governor.
New York. Governor has a winner, Andrew Cuomo. This seems to be the election for Democratic governor wins.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. Are we seeing?
Well, I was just talking about that. There's. We haven't heard anything about Lupe Valdez for governor of Texas versus Greg Abbott.
Here's one Republican.
Greg Abbott, hold on, just say, oh no, Greg Abbott won. I predicted that too, viewers.
Texas won. Okay, we got one Texas governor win. And one Hoosier has told me that they're totally blue. Thank you.
So I've had 2 out of 2.
2 out of 2, right. I have lovely cousins that are totally progressive. Right. Okay, Shabbat in Ohio does seem to be leading. He's the Republican versus Pureball. Let's see, Ron DeSantis and Gilliam are pretty close. Too close to call. It's DeSantis, but it's just by a little over a point. I don't know if we could count on that as being at all truthful yet. It's not reflective. I think.
Polls have just closed in Wisconsin.
Kansas is doing well. Laura Kelly in Kansas is way ahead of Chris Kobach.
Oh, good.
Right. Chris Kobach, is he the Trump guy?
He's a really nasty guy.
He's the guy who's trying to, find the fake voting. Is that Kobach?
Yeah.
I was trying to, read that research into all those fake California voters, supposedly brought in by buses from Mexico. Immediately had to end that investigation because they couldn't find anything. And
I picked Laura Kelly. I'm 3 out of 3 so far.
Okay. All right. Great. God, at least you're keeping score for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody hope Lena's right. All right. Send your energy. Lena's right. Now, Abrams does not look like she's doing well against Kemp.
No.
I wonder about that.
The gap's so big as it's a story in itself.
It is a story in and of itself. You have to wonder. Now, again, we've only got 1 million votes in, so that may not be representational. They just may have counted some districts.
And they're saying Blackburn won.
Right. It looks like Kentucky. Andrew Barr has won. He is the Republican in Kentucky House 6. I was not expecting Kentucky to go to the left myself, but he has defeated McGrath. In Florida, House 15 seat has gone to Ross Spano. He's defeated Kristen Carlson. This is in Florida for the Republican. Right?
Okay.
And I think this is a projection. It's not yet completed, but it's pretty close to complete. Now, remember, Democrats need 21 Republican seats to take the House.
Oh my God!
Cliffhanger action! Wow. I don't know if we're gonna know much even over the next.
I think I need another coffee.
Several hours. Well, should we just go take a break and come back? In an hour?
I can hold the fort. Or
no,
should we
I think,
take a break?
I think we should
we'll
take a break.
To freshen up.
We need to meditate. Right.
It won't be an hour.
It
that was too long. It's going on for 1:10 here, so we'll come back in 20 minutes.
That sounds awesome.
Okay, so we'll leave you on, I think, like we did before. We'll leave you on. We'll walk back and forth. Keep in touch. Go and have your loo break. Freshen up your martinis.
Okay, we'll be back.
Get your popcorn happening.
You can hear us making coffee.
You can hear us rabbiting on in the background.
Listen to us chatter about stuff.
Yeah, right. Totally. So we'll be walking back and forth. But we'll join you again officially in 20 minutes.
Okay, great.
Okay. Sustenance. We should have had someone here to serve us food and drinks.
Right.
We didn't get the catering organised. We blew the catering. Can you want a pot of coffee?
I don't mind.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, that'd be brilliant. I'll just sort of call in here. I'll put on the CNN commentary for you.
Yeah, the Republicans did pull out. Well, look, you have to. Democrats have done a good job in recruiting House candidates, but Republicans have not just sat back and let this happen. They have been fighting for it, and as we see by what's going on in Florida right now, what's going on in Georgia right now, what's going on in Indiana right now, Republicans have managed to get their voters to the polls as well.
Let's go over to John. Take a closer look at some of these contests.
Hope you can hear this, okay? Can you hear the CNN commentary?
But Rick Scott is still ahead.
Rick Scott is still ahead, and you're starting to look at this, 96% of the vote. Now, we went around the state earlier. I'll just show you again, just to do this, just to show. The smaller Republican rural counties are mostly in. You'll find a couple maybe in the 90s, but I just tapped 4 there, and 100%. So most of the Republican vote is in. So now the question is, if you're down 55, 58, can you find them somewhere? And so I'm going to just check over here again, just to look. 91% still Hillsborough County. This is closer. Still closer, but if the rest comes in, Bill Nelson can pick up some votes here. This one's at 100, so there are no votes here. So as always, Democrat in a close race in Florida, what you need is the rest of the vote here. We're up to 87% now. The question is, as this kicks up, is Bill Nelson picking up 5,000 votes, or is he picking up what he needs, which is 20,000 votes, 30,000 votes higher? Are there still enough of there in Miami-Dade? And then a little bit more opportunity here, not as big, but besides, just look at the state population. Miami-Dade, 13+%. Broward County, a little over 9.5%. So here, mathematically possible, yes, but you're in nail-biting time right now in the Nelson campaign because you're trying to fight.
Yeah, absolutely nail-biting. Oh, my Lord. Dina says, I feel surprisingly calm. That can happen. You know, just keep calm. Yeah. I need to walk my dog. Thanks for the break. That's fine, guys. Just keep Don't worry. People say not feeling the blue wave. It's okay. It's early days. It doesn't have to be a tsunami. It just has to get over the line with the house. It really has to get over the line. Yeah.
And it could still be a blue wave.
And someone just suggested we spend a few minutes of this time, our downtime in recession, doing a little prayer for Mullah.
Yeah, good one.
Every day and every night. God, how amazing. Moving on. Let's see. Miami-Dade County. Oh, God, it's close.
More Republican votes have been counted in Florida.
Sorry, say that again.
The rural counties have been counted, not the
yeah,
cities,
that's a good point.
Which would mean that it is not really reflective.
Yeah.
More Democrats live in cities.
Yeah. Yeah. Braun definitely got in Indiana. He's a Republican. Here we go. Okay. Seats in the U.S. Senate. Democrats have 36. Republicans have 42. There are 22 seats remaining.
Wow.
Oh.
Close. Really close.
Oh, please. Joint prayers. Have faith. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like Joe Manchin's won in West Virginia for the Dems. Oh, that's lovely, Alchemist. I'm a scientist who watches a tarot reader and a psychic from Australia. Loves life. They're not surprised knowing me. Yeah. Never mind. Well, we all live and breathe this stuff on our channels, right? You know, we're as well versed as anybody in this stuff. You guys as well. You know, we've been following it all really, really, really closely. You know. Laura comments, I'm still surprised Trump has so many supporters. He's still only got 20%. Republicans will notionally support him, but they're not necessarily Trumpites. You know, when the economy turns, which it inevitably will do, they'll desert him. That's my prediction. Oh, the angel Michael, divine intervention. That's right. Okay, again, Washington, 50 minutes to go before they close. Okay. Oh, Beto, you've got to do this, honey. Honey. Yes. Miss Fafala says, I can't believe I'm following this with Australians. I'm Australian. Dave's actually American, but he does live here. So between us, we've got it covered. It will be a long night. Yeah, totally. And we've still got to work out what we're going to do later too. We'll probably take a proper break later and then come back again. Beto. Oh. Send positive thoughts. Hawaii is to close in 1.5 hours. Been asked, have either of you seen a funnel web spider? They're famous in Australia. Yes, I've had many encounters with funnel web spiders, and also our biggest snake, carpet snakes. They're huge pythons. And I grew up in a state that has big snakes. So nothing about spiders worries me. When you have to deal with the snakes in Queensland, it's a different story. But because everywhere's become so urbanised, of course, in Australia, there's millions of Australians who have never seen a snake in the wild. There's urban living. But where I grew up, there were heaps. Okay, what's happening here? Montana, looks like Hawley's going to win. He's the Republican. We don't like Hawley. What else is happening here? We want to find out what happens in Idaho with Paulette, because she's the first Native American potential governor.
Right. Go Paulette. There were other things we really liked about Paulette. Not just that she's Native American, but we just thought she was awesome. On it's pretty tough to be a popular lefty in Idaho. I think that's quite a challenge.
Sure.
Oof, man, O'Rourke and Cruz, could it get any closer? Do keep in mind, these numbers are appearing very close, but it does seem rational to think that the Republicans voters got in a little bit early. That's just a guess, but
there's only 0.3 of 1% between them.
Yeah, it is
Lordy.
very close. It might be the Dems vote later. I don't know if that is a common trend. It seems like it should be, especially since we know that voter participation is way, way up.
You're asking about West Virginia and Odetta. We haven't seen anything for ages. He was a bit behind in the early polls, in the early count.
But 33 Democrats are leading in Republican districts. Right, so that is looking really good for the House of Reps. We know that the Senate is really what we're worried about more in terms of getting those Democrat numbers up. But it seems like a little bit less likely. But the House is looking good. It's looking really good. Right. Okay, 21 seats needed.
Goodness me.
Okay, I'm gonna serve some American coffee here, Pete's coffee. Yes,
okay.
I am still an American. I absolutely need my Pete's coffee. I gotta say, sometimes, Melbourne, her city is pretty good. Mine, Sydney, not always the greatest. I gotta have me my Pete's, right? Yeah. And yes, it is.
But by and large, Australia has fabulous coffee.
It's true. Her town does.
Yeah. Amazing.
Maybe not so much Sydney, but. Melbourne is a marvelous coffee place. Yeah. Right. And Lena here does drink coffee. She does not drink tea. Right. Do most British people or most Australian people drink coffee or tea?
Now. We used to be all tea drinkers when I was growing up.
Right.
And the women used to have what was called a Beck's powder. Did you have Vincent's or Beck's powder?
Never heard of it.
Okay. Basically, women would say, I've got a headache and I'd take this powder. You could buy them at a grocery store. And I found out 30 years later, they were actually amphetamine. No wonder they were all hooked on the Bex powder.
Seriously, the ironing just became so much easier.
A cup of tea and a Bex and a lie down, as they used to say. And then they'd get up and have another Bex and shoot off around. And
yes, right.
Yeah, out and out amphetamines. You know?
I'm sorry, I put milk in here. Does that too
Yeah,
much?
no, milk's good.
Good, okay.
And I need sugar.
I do have sugar behind you, my dear.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Blackburn's won in Tennessee.
No big surprise. That Blackburn lady. Okay, well.
Ghastly creature.
What a pity. Yes. What a traitor.
Here we go.
Right, okay, balance of power right now. It's 36 Democrats versus 43 Republicans.
And
21 seats remain. Okay. That's the Senate. Sorry, that's the Senate.
They need another 7 seats.
Right.
And the Republicans are not to get any more, of course.
Right, right.
So we'll keep an eye on that.
Come on, keep going.
Gillen's still 1.2 behind DeSantis.
Okay.
Don't know if he'll be able to make it up.
We're not sure about that.
We'll
but,
see.
It is still a very close race.
Super close.
Wow. Kemp is still above. He is still ahead of Abrams, but does it seem like it's a little bit closer now?
It's a little bit closer.
She's moving up.
It's still a 20% differential, but it was 30 something before.
Okay. So key races, it's looking like 43 Democrats right now versus 47 Republicans. That's considering, the already existing ones. We just need a few more seats, maybe 4 more seats for the Democrats to get to the Senate, right? So, yeah, now we are looking at the Senate. Okay. Okay, they're just showing possibilities right now on CNN on what might happen. Look, and don't be surprised. We may close today with absolutely no idea of most of these races. That actually seems pretty likely considering how close these are. So, be very, very, take everything as it comes because all of this could change by tomorrow morning. It's exciting. It is really close, but some things look good.
Sorry, it's Missouri. The Democrats in front for the governor's race in Missouri.
Right. Okay, good. New Mexico, it looks like Pierce is above Grisham, right? And it looks like he's doing very well at this. Now we're looking at numbers here on CNN. Presently, the House is at 67. Republicans are at 73. Now, I think that's already including the number of Republicans that already exist. It's not present races. They're getting closer. They're within 7 points of overtaking the Republicans. In the Senate, we've got 36 Democrats, 43 Republicans. Again, we might well close that gap. Sutton in South Dakota looks like he's beating the Republican. It looks like Noem by just 1 point, right? This looks like possibility, not certainty.
It's me.
Right. Let's see. Michigan is saying yes to legalize marijuana so far. That's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I personally think that Michigan, having spent a good deal of time in Michigan, could use a bit of relaxation. If you're going to do one thing, it seems like smoking is better than drinking. Right? I mean, I'm not encouraging this as a lifetime policy, but I don't know how much time you spent around people who smoke marijuana. They do at least seem to be a bit less aggressive than drinkers, right? I can support them. Look, O'Rourke's at 49.7 and Cruz is at 49.7. Really? How difficult to beat this?
Trauma.
Cliffhanger.
Traumatized.
Cliffhangers. Wow. Scott is very close to Nelson. O'Rourke is right there with Cruz.
There's literally 70 votes in it at this point. 70 votes.
Where?
O'Rourke is 219,600.
Okay.
219,617.
Yeah,
70
votes.
votes.
Right. And they've only counted 4.5 million of them. So this may not be representative. It might just be certain counties are coming in. Oh, come on. 49% each? That's just crazy. That is just crazy. universe is really toying us with us right now. I think it's just making
how badly do you want it? Yeah.
Now we can't stop. Now we're going to be here all night. They can't stop watching here. Wow. Okay. Any other races coming in? So if you're out there in the field and you know something, by all means, let us know. We'll be reading what you say. We'd be curious to know.
What is it?
Yeah, one person asked, have people out there, please let us know if you have found it problematic to vote in your state.
Yeah, tell us your voting stories.
We need people to go and document when they've had difficulty voting. I think that you can bring a camera and take a picture of these problematic places, like in Texas, where it's switching your vote to Ted Cruz, right?
Oh, marijuana legal in Canada 2 weeks ago. Oh, streets ahead.
Let's see. Citadel of Winds, I was like reading that message. No matter what the results stay, remember Mueller is waiting in the wings, armed with a heavy sack of indictments, ready to whack the GOP. Yes. And, we are going to hit the streets. Anybody tries to stop that from happening, I'm going to fly back to the United States so I can do a sit-in in the White House, right? We are still getting the same numbers for Florida. I know Florida is a real bellwether. I know it really does matter a lot what happens in Florida. It makes a big difference. But
what it's saying, if nothing else, is it's 50-50 literally.
Right.
It's not a...
Now let's take a look at Virginia. It looks like Dems leading in Virginia, 50.8 against Taylor. That's Luria, which is 49. Cockburn seems to be winning now.
No, she's losing to Riggleman.
No, wait, it's 45
Virginia.
to 44.
54.
Oh, I'm sorry, my numbers are wrong. Okay, so sorry, she is losing there. Perry is losing to Scott in Pennsylvania. Don't get your Scots confused. This is a Pennsylvania Scott.
So Democrat Scott is way ahead.
Yeah,
in Pennsylvania.
Way ahead. Thank you for clarifying. Let's see.
A good one.
Okay, here's Coca Roberts. She's giving her opinion here. I think that's not Coca Roberts. She's a little bit too young to be Coca, isn't she?
I don't know who.
Either that, or she's had some really good work done. I think that's possible. Let's see.
We'll
Controlled House is still considered too close.
This was a huge turnout election. I mean, everywhere I talked to all around the country, we're saying we've never seen a midterm election like this, and it wasn't just Democrats. You lose when one side's energized and the other side's it. Both sides are. You got to give Donald Trump credit for energizing. The other thing that's really remarkable is that Republicans, where everybody I talked to said, we were outspent 2-3 to 1. The Democrats had all the money, they had all the media, and they still couldn't win it. Right. Even with the divisive figure of the president on top of the ticket. That is a message of solace to a lot of conservatives who are worried about this being a disaster.
And for all that talk,
I wouldn't put too much hold by this person's opinion. Might be solace for you now. The election is just barely started.
Just never got across. I think that was the motivating factor. The message of look. So the question: Did the caravan ads work? The answer clearly is yes tonight, as you see, right? Whether you like them or not, whether you like them or not, right? They worked. To just echo what Van had said earlier, Donald Trump is the Sebastian Shaw of politics. You hit the guy, he absorbs it, he gets stronger, right? Or Rick said, whoever said it. But if you hit him, he absorbs it, he gets stronger. He's going to come out tomorrow. This is going to be a big win for the president.
Dan, you were saying you disagree.
Well,
Republicans trying to convince us that it's a big win for them.
Yes, there's a lot of anti-Trump at the top of the conversation, but on the ground, you have
leading crews.
Domestic workers who are out there knocking on doors in Georgia. They weren't fighting about Trump. They were fighting about their ability to see a doctor. And on the ground, you had 1 million doors knocked on Florida, and those people were talking about healthcare and real issues for people that are fighting for their lives.
People here on all the networks Trump is Trump, negative Trump, and what you said about the antibodies coming out against race and bigotry. A lot of people just bristle at that because they support Trump, but they're not racist and they're not bigots. They don't like to be called that.
I got to get to John
King. Talk to Gillum about that.
Yeah, right.
107,000 votes now.
Unpredictability, Anderson. That's one thing we saw in 2016. That's something we're seeing in 2018. We still have a ways to go, but we're now at 70%. Now at 70% in the state of Texas, and the Democrat, Beto O'Rourke, is leading the Senate race. That will surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, tell that to Donald.
Happened recently since the last time we had the conversation is we got the first votes in from Harris County, which is Houston, and the sprawling Houston suburbs, one of the fastest growing areas in the country, not just in the state of Texas. 16-point plus of the statewide population. Beto O'Rourke running it up pretty strong. They're 57 to 42, and only 16% of the vote in. So
doing really well in Texas.
You're saying, okay, this is Texas. It'll go back to its DNA. Maybe it will. Maybe it will. But only 16% of the vote reporting in one of the fastest growing counties in the state and in the country. And guess what? Beto O'Rourke running it up. So you pull out the map and you look and you say, what are they doing at Ted Cruz headquarters? What are they thinking about? Where are our votes? A lot of them. A lot of them. These small counties, a lot of Republican votes. Don't discount them. In a close race, every vote counts. Even if you're running 1,400 to 174, that's 33% of the vote.
There's
you look
a
at Harris
question
County, you say,
here
oh, come on. That
from
doesn't count.
Susan. Do we see legal challenges for Abrahams in Georgia and DeSantis in Florida?
Okay, and I don't know. Yeah, I imagine. Keep in mind, Dave Johnson's a little bit different than the channel, right?
Yeah.
So I could see it in my own way, but I might
and
just
I'm
have my
speaking
opinion.
as Lena today. Too,
Today we're not really doing our prediction thing per se.
But in general, yes.
Yeah.
I have said right along there's going to be legal contests.
Have you?
Georgia was obviously going to be one. There were just so many things. They didn't even have to get to the polls to know how they've been sabotaged as a state. Its democracy had been sabotaged, and you have the guy who's overseeing the election winning. He's winning.
Yes, yeah.
Isn't that
Surprise,
a miracle?
surprise.
Yeah, it's just rubbish stuff. It's complete rubbish stuff.
Right.
And it has to go through this legal maneuvering. And I think DeSantis says there's money on at least a recount. I think it's so close. It might not be a legal thing, but it could be a recount. Yeah. And worth a look.
Well, in a sense, I really think that this is an election, again, about elections. The results of Citizens United, the results of relaxing the rules that govern how states can choose voters. Those two things are really going to be written about in the history books as things that were very anti-democratic. I think the Supreme Court has to take a lot of credit. I should say the Justice Roberts has to take a lot of credit for some of these changes, which are disenfranchising voters. And this might not happen next month, next year, next week.
They've got 2 years. They've got 2 years
over time, we will be looking at this again and again, and we will be seeing how this does not benefit our democracy. And I think there is energy enough there to create some kind of a change.
Absolutely, absolutely. And people have to complain about it immediately after and hang with those complaints. I think there should be legal challenges to a lot of this stuff.
Well, I think one thing about these is that it will keep up the energy in the left base. It'll keep working because everybody wants to have a fair election. And I think in the next 2 years, people are going to continue to be very invested in what's going on now that they've been brought here to the table. Look, Texas is still looking good for O'Rourke. I think that could be our big win today. I'm just saying it's possible. And I'm not channeling here. I'm just asking, what from what I'm observing, it does look good.
And I think the takeaway message too throughout is these are really closely contested. And given that we know how bodgy and dodgy these machines are and everything else, there's only this handful of votes. So it's really important to keep up the momentum once you've recovered from this to reinvest in it, because the next 2 years are absolutely essential to reclaiming America and making it big and bright. Innovative was the word you used before. America used to innovate, and now it's being left behind.
It's cronyism. So,
Cronyism,
here's one question too. It's like, if these are very close races, it seems like regardless of whether a Democrat wins, for example, in Florida, if these are really close races, it's going to continue the pressure to keep very, very active and not just to go, I kind of believe in something, but to really make more bold moves, really to be more communicative with the electorate. Regardless, the Dems are going to have to keep on moving forward and bringing a message. And, I do think that that's significant in the sense that the left needs to be on point more.
I mean, one commentator just said America is lost. No, I think this is the most
It
exciting
really is important.
and important time.
Yeah.
This is about the beginning of America reclaiming
Right.
itself and reinventing its identity for now, the new millennium. Now, the old guard.
Mhm.
You know,
Democracy's been on the chopping block since the 70s, I think. You know, bits and pieces of it are being whittled away, especially by huge amounts of money invested by people who have very specific interests, and, you know, decline of things like, you know, unions has really affected us. So I think the decline's been on for a while. We're just realizing what the stakes are now. People are practically feeling what it means to have a Kavanaugh, for example, on the Supreme Court.
But also they saw very clearly that he is not a man of integrity.
Yes, right.
And as I've said all along, viewers, I said if he got the confirmation, he would not stay.
Yes.
I never said straight out, but he'd do it. And he won't stay. Because there's too much dirt.
You feel that way
too much
strongly.
Dirt. Yeah.
I do wonder. I mean, everybody's been very quiet about the other accusers, including Blasey Ford. We haven't heard word one from any of those people. So I just kind of wonder what's going on there. And I do feel like after the election, there's something that's going to happen. Somebody's going to bring this stuff up. I have no idea what happens if a Supreme Court justice is accused of a serious crime.
Yeah.
I'm
well,
not
I
sure
think we'll find out.
Well, I'm not sure we've ever really. I think there was one guy who was impeached for this in the early 1800s. I think he was evicted, but I'm not positive. I know that it is hard to get a lifetime judge off the bench, but that does not mean it's impossible. Look at the last couple of years we've seen in America.
And I think everything has to change, like the whole system. And I think this should happen in Australia as well. If any German viewers are out there, if you could, but I seem to remember a German viewer explain each side has X amount, a set amount of money and a set amount of airtime. You couldn't buy more.
Yeah.
You only get your allocation,
and
it stops 2 weeks before the election or something, so people can just digest it and make things. So democracies can actually change these frameworks. And this old way of doing business has got to go.
So Kansas is looking really good. Paul Davis looks like he's definitely in the lead. In the United States in general, we're looking at pickup opportunities. There's 34 Dems, 3 Republicans. It's looking pretty good for the House of Reps. I think that's what they mean. Texas. Oh, wow.
Ortiz Jones, she's just still ahead.
She's just ahead against Will Hurd. Yes, go Ortiz Jones. Such an interesting set of candidates from the left to the Democrats.
It's fascinating. It's fabulous.
You know, lesbian who is a rock running as a Democrat. I mean, can you think of any time in history where that would have even been remotely possible that such a coalition could be created? You know, it's always hard for Democrats because they have to create coalitions. They have to create groups of people that are interested not only for themselves, but for the groups